Since the earliest of civilizations, we have made much progress, but that progress came with a cost. Our world has changed.
Systems check, ready to fire.
And despite our advances in both science and technology, we can no longer deny what is clear. Our time. Since the earliest of civilizations, we have made much progress, but that progress came with a cost. Our world has changed.
Systems check, ready to fire.
And despite our advances in both science and technology, we can no longer deny what is clear. Our time on Earth is ending. So we turn our gaze upward to the stars and embark on the greatest journey in human history. A journey into the unknown, to discover a new world, a new home, a new beginning for mankind.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on with my screen thing here. So, I apologize. Usually I can see both at the same time. No, not movie night. Not at all. But I have to switch in between Google and my screen, and usually I don't have to do that. So this I apologize for. So anyway, good evening, everybody. Hi, guys. Yeah, I shaved quick, took a shower. We've been working around the clock, as I said to you all earlier today, with lots of incredible things going on. And I'm getting excited as a lot of stuff happens. I have a very big meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Be back out in Kansas this week as well. And then back out with lawyers quick, and then and accountants, and then back home again. Lots of stuff going on. And I'm very excited about what's going on with Atlas and all the above with that. So I'm trying to fix my screen here. Something weird is going on here. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay. Everybody all right with that? There we go. Okay. There's a lot going on in the news. I'm going to bring you the world news quickly in 20 minutes. There's so much going on, and then there's something very big that just broke that I want to share with everybody, having to do with with a possible EMP by North Korea that our government is saying is possible. This is a key to a false flag. North Korea cannot and does not have the capability, satellites or not, to implode an EMP over the United States. This is false information. This is false flag type information. If an EMP happens, it's going to be as a product of our own sun and system and or our own government, which is the timing of this is falling into place with other things. And there's a lot going on with our International Space Station, which is creating a lot of this. I can prove now that the space station, outside of the space station but connected to it, similar to the same, not similar, but the pictures that Stephen had shared from a woman on the internet who was shooting things, didn't even, and grabbed them off the ISS live feed. I pretty much have figured out what they're doing and what's going on, and where a lot of this our fake sun simulations and other things are coming from, and what's happening, and why this eclipse stuff is becoming such a big craze and things of that. But this North Korea thing, big distraction. Eclipse, big distraction. They are trying to make out that we may be in darkness, and the government, as I shared in another video, is planning a training of power outages across the country and all the alike, simulating that of EMP again. I will go and review that older article, not older, but from a week from now, when I go through the news. So, but there's just a lot of great things going on, and you guys will be happy. Your membership agreements will be out. And when I tell you there's a lot of legalities in this to write things the right way with lawyers, that's why. But we are building MFA on a rock, and you're going to be seeing new logos. I'm going to share with you tonight what your personal dashboard and personal group for underground survival group, and they'll all be accessible in the same forum. This is outside of MFA Social, just so you know that. MFA Social is being built for the entire planet. The independent groups that we are doing, the private groups, as originally what's underground, and MFA Underground Survival Group, and news network and things were set for was this, so people could go to our website, log in with their private password, and get into the forum, and then we have our own private forum in the back end. So we will not be using MFA Social as that private network. MFA Social is going to be by itself, and it's going to keep being developed, as even though when we release it with beta testing, keep being developed like Facebook does, as an all-inclusive, private, vetted social media community across the globe. I believe it's a great investment for MFA to do this, and you'll see, as I showed you a sample of it a little while ago. And we are working on that now. But private group forums, I can show you quick before I get into the news. Give me a sec. Normally, let me show you. See, my thing doesn't get big enough for you to do the whole screen. But on the back end, when you sign in, you will be having a dashboard that will be showing you news, who's on live chat, all types of things on your own dashboard, all tied with MFA and our news network, and even outside of that, anything that you like or you want to. I will walk you through this, as you can see. So you'll have news on your this would be your dashboard. And then you hit the news, and you'll have a news feed, just like on Facebook, just right through. This is just showing, this is just test posts. And it'll go into the posts, replies, everything. Just like this, we're changing a lot of, adding and changing different things. You'll have your own calendar for your own events. You have your own tasks. Are you guys able to see this? So you'll be able to manage your own tasks. Then you can go into community, which will be members. You'll have your members. I'll show you that in a second. Then you have your groups. You have site-wide activity for all of MFA, and forums, all private, all logged in. So like if this is sample ones, this would be your page, nice pictures down here, and then you have your profile, your sites, your friends, your groups, your forums, your events, your own files, your own media. On the left, will show you any news articles from anybody you're following. Your friends, recent comments will show up here. Then you have organization, part of the group. If you're on the board of directors, things like that can be shared. If you're not, you can go into the shop, and you'll be able to shop all of our stuff. And this is just a temporary shop in here now. For survival group, you'll be able to shop MFA regular, and we're getting involved with a lot of things, like I said, personal security, things like that. So it's very cool how this will be. Some of the colors will be different, what we're working on and things of that nature, all tied into the back end. It's tiny because it's on a big screen that I'm on. You'll be able to see it. You have to understand, I'm showing you an iMac 27-inch screen, everybody. So this is on an iMac 27-inch. So I can't, when I'm showing you an entire, I'll zoom in on this so you can see a corner of it. There you go. So you'll log in and you'll see at the top, you have your own dashboard, you have news, which is the news feed, your own calendar, you have your tasks, the community clicks into that, and you'll go into members, groups, all the above, and then you can go into your friends. So this is what I'm saying. This is going to be private for MFA, MFA Underground, MFA Survival Group, and Platinum members, that they'll all have this. And this is our own MFA network. No one will be able to get into it at all. And we're going to have MFA Social on top of this. So this is where people will share news. You'll see live videos. You'll do all that. And then if you want to share the link from our news network, we have a whole new news network coming. You're going to start to see all the .coms tied to Beautiful Coming Soon pages, with all the .coms for social, for MFA Social, MFA News Network, MFA March for America itself, main website, MFA Underground, to that survival group, all the above. So you'll have your own everything. You can do your tasks. Your calendar screen is excellent, really nice. Everything we're adding and changing. We're redesigning and adding lots of things. So like I said, this would be your calendar. It'll show you everything. Your tasks, you can manage your tasks all during the time, anything you want as important. You can write, you'll be able to do everything on here. Then you can go into community, which is our community, and you'll see members. The members will show up. You'll see groups that are already in here, like this one. These are just sample groups. Investor financing is one of them. So if you go to that, you'll see like this. They show up very, very classy. You'll see the group admins, the events of the members. Some of the stuff you can't see because I zoomed in on the screen. This is much classier than Facebook, and it's our own. This is our own MFA. This is what it is. I mean, we're working on this as we speak. These are test profiles and things of that nature. And our new logos, all of our logos are going to be, wait till you see all this, with Atlas City, and then Atlas City 1, Atlas City 2, the survival group. This is just amazing what we're doing, MFA development. You'll be seeing how those tiers go out, things of that nature. And then you go into all these, some of these buttons are changing, things like that. And you'll be able to see current news articles. And when you see our news network, when you see MFA's news network, it makes like Alex Jones and the rest of them look like shit. Trust me. That's what's taking so long. And we are putting out, I'm going to be putting out a job applications for volunteers to be writers, as well as what we call copywriters. In other words, all major news networks take stories from Reuters, Associated Press, etc. And once they find them and they copy the wording and they put the source in there and they add their own title and picture in the news. That's what Alex Jones does. And then they have their own in-house writers. We're going to have our own in-house writers, and then we need people to share news. One that covers, we'll say, world news, one that covers travel, one that covers technology, one that covers strictly MFA news, things of that nature. So I'll walk everybody through that when the site is up, and we're trying to rush to get that site up as well. Linda, Ida is grieving.
I've already invited her.
Ida is fine. Please, everybody, let Ida be. I know a lot of people care, but she's just, let her grieve, please. Not to be rude. So just if there's something wrong on Ida's end having to do with Facebook, this is another reason why we are getting out of Facebook. Facebook is an avenue, and then our forums are going to be, our own private forums are going to be like this. And this is much classier than Facebook. It's going to do much more for our members. Anybody who's in Atlas is going to have more. If you're in Atlas, you'll be able to see and receive different additional information. If you're in Survival Group, Underground, and regular MFA, you'll be able to get all of them. Membership levels are changing in how they go and what features and everybody gets in. So this is what I'm saying. Okay, we are changing the way internet with these type of what we're doing here. This is incredible, and it's thanks to you guys, as I said earlier. Too many trolls on Facebook. Facebook, and I'm going to tell you something. I'll share some information with you guys. In meeting with attorneys with this lawsuit, okay, we have a presiding type civil action coming up with Facebook and this hate groups. You want to know why? I'm going to explain why. No, she didn't block MFA, Linda. We're on this with her. Please. We are dealing with Ida. We talk to Ida all the time. Ida's a dear friend to us. Okay? So, now, please, I want to focus. Okay? If you guys have questions, please ask me at the end. And I'm not trying to be rude. I have members tell me all the time, Scott, please tell everybody to ask you questions at the end. Because I want to get out the news and information, and then, you know me, I'll answer anything you want. You can call me. I don't care. So, Facebook, per even these attorneys, okay? Facebook is acting as the avenue for haters to harass, stalk, and track others, okay? And that's the difference. With a private social media network, everybody gets vetted, they sign contracts, they are identified. If they get blocked, they cannot make new fake profiles, they cannot make a new business, they cannot do anything. Private social media is the new future, and MFA is going to be right on top of that, trust what I tell you. And building a social media network of this size is a lot of money, but worth it. Okay, it's a very good investment for MFA to have this. What I just showed you is MFA's private network that members get into, and it's much nicer than Facebook and gives you much more things in our community and all of the above. Okay? It's not MFA's social network. Members who are members get free, get grandfathered into MFA's free social network. Okay? This that I just showed you is for MFA, from MFA's website to our own private forum. You cannot get in unless you're a member. All new members, just so you know, have to pay a yearly membership fees. They're changing, okay? Yearly membership fees, and then you can belong to all of our things, and you're going to see a nice, incredible thing, document, so to speak, a screen, that's going to show you how MFA is going to be set up with all of its groups and its organizations, and all the way down to Survival Group and Atlas. Okay, we want to come out with a Survival Group show, live reality show as well. We want to film what's going on and what we're doing over at the base when we start it. We want to create a Survival Group so we can show it and people will see it on MFA TV. We are making this for the future as well as to get news out to everybody. We will still use Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest as avenues to market our organization and our news stories. Okay? And then live videos from there will be shared to Facebook. Okay? But that's it. There will be no other groups. We're not using any groups on Facebook, the above. When you want to come on and I'm going to do a show for you and all members, it's going to be in the news feed, and it goes in the news. You'll all know when I'm live because you'll be notified immediately. You want to know about the weather? It'll show up on your dashboard. You want to know about any of these things? It's going to all pop up, and we're going to have people that follow the volcanic activity, the earthquake activity. We're going to be giving everybody jobs to do with inside of our own community here. And no one can get in this. Believe me, these new membership agreements and all new memberships have to go through an application. They fill it, read it, agree to the terms, and pay right then and there. And it is all private. All private. Okay? Under agreement. And this is what I wanted from the beginning with MFA, and that was part of our membership plan to do this, and that's what we are doing. And I have a surprise coming for the internet, and a surprise coming, let's just put it this way. A surprise for Google to clean up a lot of bullshit, as well as my videography, which is a paid event, 40 episodes, is getting set up on a site as we speak. And I'm going to be starting that, okay, July, August, after this whole, we're going to set it up for November, depending upon what happens with the weather, but for a November 1st release, and that will also have links to documents, everything like that. This is my story, it's along with the book. So, but we're getting all of this stuff finished, okay? It's a lot of work. I can't keep saying that to everybody. Setting up all this type of things like you see here, tying them together with membership levels and all of that. Thanks, Trevor. Believe me, it'll be worth it. It's 40 episodes. 40 episodes of my life. It's like a trilogy. I call it videography. That's my word. I've deemed it for it. It's called a videography. I want to be able to tell my story, and I've had this plan for a long time, not reading from my book. I want to tell my story to the world and look them straight in the eye. I want to look everybody in the face and say, here, this is my life, this is my strengths, my faults, my mistakes, what I did, how I ended up here, and I mean deep stuff. And so that's how it's going to be. And people have to pay for it because just like a book, and it's a videography series, and you'll see a video trailer coming for it. The video trailer alone is costing $5,000 to $10,000 to do the video trailer for my videography and book. And that's for my own top people that do it at cost. So we're getting very, very professional with everything here with MFA and even what I'm going to be doing on the internet. And I can assure you that as Connie was with us, with the great team we have put together in Nevada, where our new corporate headquarters will be, or actually are, our new corporations all coming out of there. Even March America Inc. is being moved over there. Everything is being taken care of, as well as even lawyers, accountants, and lawyers dealing with haters, okay? And that's a fact. So lots of things are changing. And that's that. People are either in or people are not. That's it. Because I can assure you, once we start to market this and all of it, including Atlas City, all the above, and how this all works, it's going to go viral. It's going to go viral. Now, news. I don't like it that my screen is not in front of my thing here. I don't know what the heck is going on here. Usually I don't have to do this like this. So I apologize. See, now I have to switch back to play it. Facebook's all jacked up too. That's part of the problem here. So Facebook's changing lots of shit.
Breaking news, terror in Charlottesville. Chaos in the streets as a car plows into a crowd of people.
Pools of blood all over the ground, people screaming. I've never seen such a horrific, blatant racist attack in my entire life.
After clashes between white nationalists and counter-protesters, victims thrown in the air. One woman dead, others critically wounded.
Madness.
The alleged driver arrested. What we're learning about the suspect this morning was fueled by hate.
And fighting erupts on the streets of this American city. Hate groups making Nazi salutes.
Please go home and never come back.
Skirmishing with counter-protesters, beating each other with...
Welcome to the new America.
Each other to the ground.
This is a battleground right now.
Police in riot gear out in full force. Overnight, mourning two of their own. A police helicopter crashing.
And this morning, President Trump under fire.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides.
Taking heat for what he did not say. Even members of his own party speaking out. The fallout this morning.
From ABC News, live in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Good Sunday morning, everyone. Dan is off once again. It is great to have Matt Gutman with me once again on this very busy morning as we cover the chaos and violence in Charlottesville, Virginia that ended in tragedy.
This graphic image capturing the horror, showing a car ramming into a crowd of people. You see those bodies flying, a horrifying scene with deadly results.
Horrifying indeed. It capped a day of protests, white nationalists clashing with counter-protesters in scenes like this on the streets that erupted into pure chaos. The hate boiled over with the governor declaring a state of emergency, and Attorney General Jeff Sessions has opened a federal civil rights investigation.
Now, here's what we know. 3 people were killed. A 32-year-old woman who was hit by that car that plowed into the crowd, as well as 2 state troopers. In total, 35 people hurt. Police have arrested the alleged driver, 20-year-old James Fields Jr., from Ohio.
They're looking more at his motive, and we want you to take a look at the cover of the Daily Progress. It's the local newspaper covering Charlottesville with the headline, "A Day of Death."
And we have full team coverage of this story this morning, and we begin with Eva Pilgrim on the ground in Charlottesville. Good morning, Eva.
Guys, several people are still fighting for their lives this morning. Now the FBI is investigating the motive behind that deadly crash that killed one person here in Charlottesville. Panic and chaos. A car plowing through a crowd of people protesting against a white nationalist rally in Charlottesville. This morning, the suspected driver, 20-year-old James Alex Fields Jr., is behind bars. Authorities say Fields, a registered Republican, lives in Maumee, Ohio, almost 8.5 hours away. His mother telling the AP she knew her son was traveling to Virginia for a rally.
I didn't know it was white supremacists. I thought it had something to do with Trump. Trump's not a supremacist.
This video showing Fields under arrest shortly after the crash. It happened just before 2 p.m. Counter-protesters marching through downtown sent scrambling.
The car just plowed through hundreds of people downtown Charlottesville.
Here you can see the silver 2010 Dodge Challenger barreling down the hill toward a sea of targets with little time to react, slamming to a stop only after it hit a van and another car. Blocked in, that car shifting in reverse, screeching back down the street to get away.
Shoes all over the ground, pools of blood all over the ground, people screaming.
One person, a 32-year-old woman, left dead. 19 more rushed to the hospital, 5 in critical condition.
I can tell you that the injuries are ranging from life-threatening to minor at this point.
The destructive aftermath on the street, leaving bystanders searching for their loved ones.
I need my sister!
Others jumping in, carrying those hurt in the collision, desperately searching for help. This following nearly 24 hours of unrest.
White lives matter! White lives matter!
White nationalists stormed the University of Virginia's campus Friday night, protesting plans to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee.
Blood and soil! Blood and soil!
The violence only escalating Saturday, chaos in the streets as demonstrators clashed with counter-protesters, the governor declaring a state of emergency. Police using pepper spray. Then, the situation taking that deadly turn. So shaking.
I am coming down. I saw the car coming down the hill, throwing bodies over top of it until the car cleared. saw the smash when he was killed. That's going to stay with me for a while.
Fields was charged with second-degree murder as well as failing to stop at a deadly accident. He is being held without bond, guys.
Thanks, Eva. It's chilling to think that the damage to that car was caused by human bodies. And I want to ask you, after almost 18 hours of continuous violence Friday into Saturday, last night, surprisingly quiet.
Matt, it was quiet last night. Police were given extra powers and able to keep the peace. They were given the ability to enforce curfew, something they didn't need to do because it stayed quiet. But definitely here in town, you can feel and see the police presence. Paula?
Eva, we want to thank you for your reporting.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
Trump tonight, caught in the fallout of all of this, criticized for waiting hours before making his first comments about that violence in Charlottesville. First Lady Melania Trump weighed in before the president did, and it's not what he finally said, but what he didn't say that has critics and supporters alike so upset. ABC's David Wright is traveling with the president in Bridgewater, New Jersey.
We're closely following the terrible events unfolding in Charlottesville, Virginia. Today, the president finally did say the hate and division in Charlottesville has no place in America. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. But the president seemed to blame both the white nationalists and the counter-protesters equally. Many of the white nationalists who organized today's rally near a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee voted for Trump. Among them, the communist attackers. Former Klan leader David Duke. As these horrific scenes of hatred and violence played out, the first White House response came not from the president, but from the First Lady.
Yeah, this is helping America.
Freedom of speech, she tweeted.
Not.
But let's communicate without hate in our hearts. No good comes from violence. Hashtag Charlottesville. President Trump waited another 40 minutes to weigh in himself, tweeting, "We all must be united and condemn all that hate stands for. There is no place for this kind of violence in America. Let's come together as one." No matter our color, creed, religion, or political party, we are all Americans first. The president's response took fire from all sides. The mayor of Charlottesville tweeted, "Thanks at long last for condemning hate in speech and action. Our work here is just beginning. Yours is too." Republican Senator Cory Gardner tweeted, "Mr. President, we must call evil by its name. These were white supremacists, and this was domestic terrorism." David Duke, not happy either. He tweeted at Trump, "I would recommend you take a good look in the mirror and remember it was white Americans who put you in the presidency, not radical leftists." Today, reporters sought to press the president further.
Mr. President, member of the white nationalists.
Mr. President, do you want the support of these white nationalist groups who say they support you, Mr. President?
Mr. President,
have you denounced them strongly enough?
A car fighting a group of people, would you call that terrorism, sir?
He ignored them.
What a fucking circus.
President
Excuse
walking
my
away from
French.
those questions there. David Wright joins us now. David, that statement from the president is drawing a lot of heat. The White House is now trying to clarify what he meant when he condemned violence, quote, on many sides.
And that's the phrase, Cecilia, that troubled a lot of people because it made the president's statement ambiguous. Many people heard it as him creating a moral equivalence between the white nationalists and the counter-protesters, blaming both. Well, tonight, the White House says the president was condemning hatred, bigotry, and violence from all sources and in all forms. Cecilia?
Okay, David.
The bombing was in Quetta, the capital of Baluchistan province. An explosive expert says the attacker, who was riding a motorcycle, was carrying 25 kilograms of explosives. 7 of the dead are members of Pakistan's paramilitary forces who were manning a checkpost. The attack comes 2 days before the country celebrates the 70th anniversary of its independence from Britain. Kamran Yusuf has more on the Quetta bombing from Islamabad.
This is not the first attack and probably not the last, particularly in Quetta and Balochistan. It has seen such attacks and also facing low-level insurgency and also presence of some of the militant groups. Because Pakistan has been fighting this war on terror for some time now. But many observers believe that apart from the ground operation, what Pakistan needs to do is to enhance their intelligence capability. Because one thing is certain, that we cannot really prevent the suicide attacks as it happened in this case. So what the analysts here believe that Pakistan needs to have more powerful intelligence, more intelligence in order to ensure that such attacks can be prevented, because Pakistan has been facing this kind of situation for many years now. They have carried out military operations in the tribal areas bordering Afghanistan. Then they have also carried out operations. In fact, they are still carrying out operations, intelligence-based operations across the country. Yet these incidents happen. On the Pakistani government or authority side, they say that because these militant groups are on the run, and that is why they are carrying out these attacks. But analysts certainly believe that more needs to be done as far as intelligence gathering is concerned. Only then one can prevent such kind of incidents.
Massive landslide on Sunday swept away 2 buses in the northern Indian state of Himachal Pradesh. At least 50 people were in the buses or were feared to have been washed away. So far, 10 bodies have been recovered from the debris. The incident took place on a national highway in the Mandi district. Officials said that the Indian Army and National Disaster Response Force are assisting in rescue operations.
Yeah. This is after a downpour. Same thing happening in the United States and around the world. If people think this is normal and the earthquake activity is really high, which we'll go get into shortly, people got to have rocks in their head. it's I don't know what else to say. Miami looked like this 2 weeks ago. Michigan 2 weeks before that. More landslides. China. Earthquakes. So as things continue to get worse around the planet, what do you think is going to happen when there's not enough responders to respond to the earthquakes, the floods, the bad weather, the things? There's going to be not enough for people to respond to help other people. People seem to forget that, because as you start to have more and more and more, and we're talking about 7.0 plus earthquakes happening down in South America, okay, and around. A lot don't have a clue what's going on. All they watch is videos, not ever the news. I wouldn't watch the news. Our mainstream media doesn't cover all this that I just showed you. That's why we're developing the MFA News Network, as I originally wanted to do. I want news from around the world to get to everybody ASAP, not just from the United States. if people sit here in the United States and think that can't happen to us, or this can't happen to us, or this won't happen to us, it's already happening in the United States. Flooding, earthquakes, extreme weather, changes in temperature, and the like. I mean, I'm going to get into that in a second, but, I don't know. It just, people make no sense to me sometimes. They're like, no, that can't be, this is bullshit, that's bullshit, but yet the stuff's all around them every day if they just look. Instead, they're glued to the TV on mainstream media. Mainstream media doesn't cover any of this. That's why we call it alternate media. And just remember, when there's a blackout and the internet goes south, what are you going to do then for news? What happens then? As Vicky just says, people do desperate things when there's chaos and when they want to survive. You got that right. Look at the madness from Charlottesville. Look at the madness from these people. That's a disgrace. You're talking about the United States, and these are idiots. No disrespect. They called them patriots? They're not patriots. That's not patriotic to stand up there and do that shit. That's not a march to help save this country or to show your point of view. That's fucking dumb. And it's harming people and hurting other people, and the violence in this country and around the world is getting worse. It's just going to get worse. Well, we're going back live publicly by the end of next week, because some things will have taken place by then, and so will our sites, being able to share it publicly while MFA Social's being beta tested and the things. But regardless, we're still going to be sharing, and I will be doing live into and shared into Facebook for the public. It'll just be pre-recorded and live to us in our other thing, from our own channel, and shared into into Facebook. Facebook, what they're doing now is they want everybody, most people, if there's 50,000 people on a business page, they don't even get to see it, because they want you, like on our MFA official page and on our MFA official page and underground and things, they want you to pay to boost these posts. So they don't really show them. Only maybe 2 to 4% now are getting to see posts, no matter how many people like the page. And they want you to boost and pay your posts, unless you have 1 million followers on there. And that's easy to do too. You got a crisp 25 to 40 grand to drop, like all these other businesses do. Believe me, they drop them and promote their videos to Facebook on a regular basis. Entrepreneurs do it every day, and they give Facebook their money to boost them on their to sell their products or to do whatever. I want to cover a story that's very important. Give me a second. It's definitely a false flag. Just give me 1 second. I want to get you this story that just came out from Breitbart. Very important. And I can't have my screen, something's wrong. Okay, give me a sec. See, this stinks. I have to go from one to the other. It has something to do with my iMac here set up, and I had everything was fine, and now it's not. I have to go come back, go back in, and pain in the ass. So I apologize. Okay, this story right here. See, I can't see at the same time. Exclusive congressional expert: North Korea satellites orbiting U.S. could be used for surprise EMP attack. Bullshit. This is straight bullshit right here. BS. You are not. North Korea is not, or does not, have the capability to launch an EMP above the United States. If you're freezing up, it's not me, just so you know. This is a false flag. This is the setup for an EMP over the United States to be blamed on North Korea, and North Korea does not have that capability. I'm telling you now. And even if they did, which they don't, from one of their rogue alleged satellites, we could take out both of their satellites in a second. Okay? This is bullshit. And I know when it comes from Breitbart like this, it's coming directly from the White House. It's coming directly from shadow government, trust me. There is no surprise EMP coming across the United States unless it's done by our own shadow government and our own CIA. Trust what I tell you. Unless Russia were to launch it, which you know they're not going to do it, or China, and they're not going to do it either. They are really out, and Britain and other countries, which are our friends. So there's only certain countries that are equipped to launch an EMP over the United States. So this here is another bunch of bullshit. Globalist-owned media fear-mongering is what it is. They can't do shit. All of this hype and all of this crap for nothing, but they got people scared out of their mind with this madness. Complete out of their mind with this madness. Powerful Venezuelan lawmaker may have issued death order against Marco Rubio. Venezuela is now the new Syria, and so will be Iran. Okay? And one of the articles that comes out, it shows the same thing. As I have said for the past 2 months ago, I said, watch. You're going to see Venezuela become the new Syria, and Iran is going to be next on the list, because ISIS is being wiped out in Syria by Russia and Assad's forces, so we need a bad guy. And so Venezuela is going to become the bad guy, just like Syria, where the Syrian war broke out from civil unrest in Syria created by our own CIA and Israel's Mossad. Fact. So something domestic as that of protesting turned into a massive civil war, and now you have close to 600,000 people dead in Syria. Same thing's happening in Venezuela, and now we're getting our nose stuck in there. Same thing. Time to take over Venezuela. Time to take over the Philippines. And Iran is right there in the crosshairs with Israel and that. And people think that Iran is going to attack Israel. I'm telling you right now, Iran is not attacking Israel. They know it's their death warrant if they were to do it. Israel is equipped with heavy, heavy-duty nuclear missiles and would wipe Iran off the freaking map. Okay, so when people start to say, I see people posting, Iran's going to attack Israel. Get the out of here. And now, as Trump is even saying, Venezuela's next. Venezuela's a hot mess, as Jane says. It's a hot mess, all right. We created that mess, too. Don't you get it? Rothschilds, Rockefellers, New World Order want Venezuela, control of Venezuela. So we're going from, and now we're everywhere. Just so you know, we're everywhere. We are in Syria, we're in Iraq, we're in Afghanistan, we're now in the Philippines, we're in Africa. We're going now to Venezuela. Okay? We're in Yemen with Saudi Arabia. And no oil. This is not about oil. They want you to believe that this is about oil. We do not need oil. We do not need oil at all. we do not want, or we do not need oil. And I'll give you argument's sake. If we needed oil, right, and just like the war in Iraq, if we need oil and we went into Iraq for oil, how come we never touched any of its oil to this day? Why have we not touched any oil in Iraq to this day? Or Kuwait, or anywhere else? The United States is the instigator. The United States, CIA, Israel, instigator. There's no America first. Where is America first in any of this? Military everywhere, and most of our military is all over in the Pacific. It's all around China, North Korea, all in that. A lot of it in that area. I mean, major. Most of our big aircraft carriers, nuclear submarines, all the like, and in the Middle East. They don't want oil. Everybody always thinks this is about oil. Bullshit. It's not about oil. And I again, give me an argument as to why. If we wanted their oil, why have we not touched any oil in Iraq? And we control Iraq. We've controlled Iraq forever. We have not touched one bit of its oil. And Iraq should be paying us for freeing them from Saddam Hussein. But it was just another way to get into Iraq and get our presence there. Just like Russia now controls Syria and their bases, and they have their own bases there and big contracts. Do you know where Russia's headed next? I'll show you. I'll show you. This is a very important story. I'm going to get back to the SpaceX story. Here we go, right here. Fake, false flag. You want to see something? Right here on this story. CIA head says Iran, Hezbollah, and Russians involved in Venezuela pose risk to U.S. Really? What the hell does... What in Venezuela poses a risk to the United States? This is Trump's Pompeo, another sick dictator asshole tied to the New World Order. Claimed Venezuela is overrun with Iranians, Hezbollah, Cubans, and Russians in response to questions about Donald Trump. Here it comes. Here it comes. What in the world is Iran, if they are even there? If Iranians are there and Cubans are there and Russians are there, they have a right to be there if Venezuela allows them in there? Why is it the United States? How is that pose a risk to the United States? For real? Come on. This is, I'm telling you, Venezuela, next Syria. And it's going to come fast. Why are we fighting these wars? There's no reason for any of these wars. As Kathy says, when we last fought for our freedom, we fight for money and power. Okay? This is my point. And Americans need to understand what's happening here. America is not the superpower anymore, I'm telling you, and they're grasping with the Rothschilds and the like, and they make them dangerous people because China, Russia, superpower, combined together, superpower. China is really the superpower. And they could own us. They own our bonds. They own our country basically with land, and they own most of the minerals and gold and silver rights around the planet, and other from the planet Earth, meaning the minerals. Okay, China, superpower. Forget about China's people like, oh, their aircraft carriers are tin cans. Yeah, check out China's high-speed nuclear weapons. They make our old nuclear weapons look like junk. Okay. You think China's building in the South China Sea on man-made islands for no reason? They don't care what the United States says. They're like, go ahead. We can't get rid of China. What did China say? China just said a few days ago, if we attack North Korea first, China's with North Korea. Russia with North Korea if we attack North Korea first. If Kim sends off missiles to Guam, China and Russia will back off. So they just stopped just so you know, by that statement, and it was all over international mainstream media, they just stopped the United States from attacking North Korea immediately. Because just like in the prior Korean War, China came in from their other borders, came right in and pushed back South Korean and U.S. forces right the fuck back out right where they are right now. After they had already come all the way in, they pushed them right back. They came in right from the border, and they're already amassing more and more heavy equipment and troops on the border with North Korea. All you see on mainstream media, what did Trump say? What's going on with this? Russia investigation, this thing, that thing. None of this important stuff is anywhere that's, I will say this, RT is a Russian news agency, but at least they share the news, and it's true news, from around the globe. They share it all. They share it all. They totally share it all. Is everybody still there? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Everybody there? Not there? Hello? Oh, okay. All right. Just like, Al Jazeera is getting kicked out of Israel and other places. Al Jazeera also shares news from around the world and true news. Al Jazeera Network, believe it or not, shares lots of true news from around the world. They're getting kicked out of Israel and other countries. So is RT. They've shut down RT's bank accounts in other countries and things of that nature. They're trying to shut off real news networks from being able to push out the truth. Shallow 4.9 earthquake strikes near Bodrum, Western Turkey. This is really a 5.9. This is kind of funny. Why women had better sex under socialism. It was a post from Dawn. That's great. Holy smokes, the Church of Cannabis. Here you go. This is the way it's going to be. The Church of Cannabis. Oh, yeah. The Cannabis Church. I have a great idea, though, just so everybody knows. Because MFA is now able to acquire and get first access to military bases through a deal that we've done with this Atlas deal, through a company that's now ours. If things go the way I think, and this pole shift does not happen until 2021, 2022, and there, we want to take a base that's available in Colorado and turn it into a pharmaceutical hydroponic marijuana growing facility under the ground. Great business, great investment for March for America LLC to get into later on down the road, and with hydroponics and things of that nature. So we can also grow vegetables and things in there as well, that type of stuff as well, along with the cannabis, and use it for medical, to sell as medical. Big money for pot farms, but we put it into a nuclear base. I got the idea when the guys got busted. Did you see this article? I'm going to show you guys this article. Hang on. Yes, exactly. Holy moly, Batman. I don't smoke pot, but guess what? We can make lots of money selling pot legally for pharmaceutical grades, and we keep it underground and never have to worry about it. And you know where I got the idea? Right here. I'll show you. I don't even want to discuss Charlottesville. It's a disgusting thing. In the wake of Charlottesville protests, the Kentucky mayor wants to remove Confederate statues. And these people wonder why they want to take down all this shit and do all this crazy stuff. Far right goes ahead in Seattle, despite violence in Virginia. Another one. The organizer said he would urge his supporters to remain nonviolent during the Freedom Rally and plan counter-protest. And no disrespect. This is getting old. This stuff is getting very, very old. It's dangerous. It's hurting people. And it's doing nothing for our country. You tell me what it's doing for our country. This isn't organizing people together in a positive manner to march or stand up and protest something. This is a joke. Fear of violent left preceded events in Charlottesville. Very bad situation. This is a very good article if you want to know why the total solar eclipse arrives from the west. This is some serious stuff going on with this eclipse, and I believe it's a very big distraction for people. Kuwait battles a very big oil spill. This is pretty serious. Gulf close to popular summer beaches. There's a very big oil spill going on that has tarred the beaches and left the, going on. Nothing the same way as the nuclear stuff going on from Fukushima in Japan. 2 U.S. soldiers killed, 5 more wounded in possible ISIS attack in Iraq. 2 soldiers have been killed and 5 more wounded during an operation in northern Iraq. This is serious stuff right here. You got to see this. Let me see if you're seeing it. I got to make sure my screen is... I got to figure out what the hell's going on here. Let me shift it down. Hang on. This is in Chile. Those are 15-meter high waves. So if anybody wants to know. Oh yeah, planet's normal. Yeah, so let's hang out there and talk. You gotta love people's comments on this. Well, only 3 people are worried about it. Goodbye. Pack your shit. Have a nice day. Look at this car. What are they, nuts? Look at these people. That's a Matchbox car. Yeah, okay. Sure. What is wrong with these people? Idiots. Unbelievable. Oh, here comes another Matchbox car. Unbelievable. Just idiots. Let's just stand there and do this. Okay. This is very important. I want to share with everybody, and some things have happened since then. I want to share this video from Dutch. As Stephen just says, that whole area will be getting waves like this soon. The seismic activity along that ridge is being pressed from the Western Pacific, and I think by Thursday they may see a huge 7+ quake and possibly a tsunami. Yes, I agree. Yeah, they're going to get an adrenaline rush. Trust me. Trust me. They're going to get an adrenaline rush. This is really a 7-point plus earthquake. And it strikes during his feed. And plus, he reports on a rare Brazil earthquake. Listen to what this... Dutch is one of the best on the internet. This guy's got his shit together. We're getting a couple of our members who are going to be reporting this stuff similar to like Dutch that's doing. Steven's working on becoming one of them as well and learning and how, you know, how quakes work and the plates and things of that nature. This stuff is getting serious. Hang on. People have got this guy like Brian Lane. Why would they want to downgrade and not report the truth of the quakes? What? Let me put it this way. If you started to see 7s really becoming 8s and 9s and 6s being 7s and 5s being 6s, what does that say to you? So why not control the rating system by 1 point? So when it really hits, and that's the funny thing about the USGS, and I want you to watch this part of this first part of this video. Let me get my head out of the way. Hang on. Let me do it this way. Sorry, I apologize. My system is not. It should be into this other area, and it's not. Thank you, Dale. They don't care about us. I don't get what people. I don't know. I just don't fathom it anymore. I just do not fathom people anymore. It's like an Alex Jones. Unbelievable. Just don't fathom people. You could show them and show them and show them. It's like somebody you're sitting there and you're having a brick thrown at your head and you're like, poof. And they're like, oh, what was that? Oh, no, everything's all right now, man. Then another one. Poof. And they're like, oh, yeah, where's those bricks coming from? Oh, you throwing those bricks at me? Yeah, okay. So they stay right there. Poof. Yeah, okay. Just, they don't get out of the way. Like, yeah, okay. Poof. Why are you throwing bricks at me? Because you're still fucking sitting there letting me throw bricks at you. Whew. Amazing shit, man. Just like, do. I'm telling you, it's the fucking Twilight Zone. And I was doing good at stop saying the word fuck, but now I'm back to saying the word fuck again. So I had to stop saying the word fuck and get myself back down again and not saying the word fuck. I was doing good. So, anyway. It's just... Oh. Now something's interrupted.
Hello. Everybody, it is 10:03 p.m. Central Time on the 12th of August, 2017. And welcome into the Earthquake 3D live stream a second time, where we daily recap seismic events from around the planet, and we also issue semi-daily and weekly earthquake forecasts for new areas to watch for movement. So, for those of you who are new here, don't be shocked when we start talking about areas that have been hit versus areas that we're watching to be hit. In this case, today is a repeat, kind of just like what yesterday was, so you're not missing much, right, with me having to start over. We have about 4 areas in the West Pacific that stand out as being hit. Areas that we named, also new deep earthquakes that we need to talk about. That's here in the West Pacific. United States, we've got stuff to talk about. Over in Europe, we've got some stuff to talk about. So let's start here with the largest activity of the day, and that's 2 different 5.3s which struck the West Pacific. We'll start in the most populated area, which is in Japan, South Japan in particular, near Suwanisejima. This is south of Sakurajima volcano, which has been sending off multiple large blasts. So there's been multiple blasts at Sakurajima, now a new mid-range 5 striking next to Suwanisejima. Now, we were expecting activity. Look where it is in relation to the other earthquakes. We've got a 4.5 and 4.1 on the western, southwestern side, and we have a deep 4.3 on the eastern side. The deep 4.3 struck on the, let's see, 12th today, I guess technically yesterday for Japan, 1604, and the 5.3 struck at 1823. So, 2 hours later, first the 4.3, then the shallow 5.3. And you can see where the 4.3 and 4.5 are on either side. It's a halfway fulcrum point, but you have to look at it 3-dimensionally. We are looking to the spot to the north still, and they still have a day and a half to 2 days to go in the warning time for north in Hokkaido. The southern portion has been hit and fulfilled. If you were keeping track of areas we named south of Kyushu next to Suwanisejima as a spot to watch. I think that was 3 to 4 days ago, and we named it for 96 hours, which is 4 days. Up to the north, again, like I said, Hokkaido is yet to be hit. We are waiting for that North Japan into Hokkaido right here, into the Kuril Islands. Down to the south, the other 5.3 struck next to Bagana volcano. Now there's new eruptions that are on the list, and a volcano that hasn't erupted in 6 months has shown back up on the list. That's Karinchi. Hold on. Let's get the volcano discovery feed open. You guys come along with me. Let's open up a display capture. Go over and check out volcanic.
In the middle of his report here, the reason why I want you to watch this is in the middle of this report, a large 6.7, and it's really a 7-point plus happens, and the USGS doesn't even report it right away. He got it off afar, and that's why I'm having you watch this. Really important.
List. Karinchi. Now I'll show you where this is, but Karinchi, Sakurajima, Dukono, Sangangapi, Manam, Bagana, Karimsky. Okay, where do we have any others? Kluchevskoy. Any others in the West Pacific that we need to make out? Okay, it doesn't look like it. Those are all just repeats of all the same volcanoes. Okay, well, let's start where they are. Over here in the far northwest Pacific, all the way up here in Kamchatka, Russia, we have Kluchevskoy and we have Karimsky. So Kluchevskoy and Karimsky both erupting up at the Kamchatka Peninsula. Then going down to Japan, we have Sakurajima right here at the south tip.
Japan is toast.
Going further to the south, we
everybody might as well move from Japan now.
Where the letter V is. I guess that's South Philippines, northeast Indonesia. Going over to the west, this is where it gets interesting. We have Sangangapi, which showed up in the past few weeks over here in Java. Now the new one, Karinchi, the one that hasn't erupted since November, is right here in Sumatra, Indonesia. Right next to it is Sinabung volcano, which puts off blasts all the time. Well, no new large blast at Sinabung, but now a new volcano on the list. As we've seen in the past, when new volcanoes show up on the list, that actually robs some of the seismic pressure from the region temporarily. And it really does rob the pressure. It's not like it just delays it. It robs it. It takes it away as the new blast.
A lot of activity.
Chambers and
lots.
The magma chamber down below. So that's going on. Okay, so those are the two largest of the day. But there's other earthquakes that have struck in the areas where we issued warnings, particularly at East Timor. East Timor was struck right here, 5.1 earthquake right next to it. That was due to the fulcrum point, or the middle point, being put under pressure. So 2 new deep earthquakes in the West Pacific. I don't need to tell the people over in New Zealand. Whenever you see a new deep earthquake to your north, it means a shallower, larger earthquake down to the south. The Kermadecs were filled in as expected, and that 4.0 hit the North Island, north of the Catcher's Mitt, as expected. But now due to a new deep earthquake, guess what's going to happen? A new 4.0 earthquake is going to be striking near the center part of New Zealand, from Wellington to Christchurch. So Warren, Wellington to Christchurch for a 4, mid-range 4 is up to the north. So it means a 4.0 earthquake, low end 4 to mid-range 4, striking at central New Zealand. Whenever there's deep earthquakes to your north, you watch the central plate boundary first. Then we're going to see a repeat. Then another 5 to 5.5 striking at the Kermadec, ultimately a new 5 striking down here at our letter X or letter X's, depending on how much force comes down and around. Now, going over to the United States, let's talk about this really quick. Yesterday's earthquake activity has not led to any significant activity today downstream in the Midwest yet. But there's a swarm starting to develop. Okay, so you can see it on the screen here. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about this, other than to say the spots that we would expect to move after the 4.0 are starting to move. So that goes up to Yellowstone yesterday. This also goes down to the Nevada border over here to the east, and it goes all the way to the Midwest with a new swarm of 2s breaking out. Remember, there was nothing, right? There were no earthquakes for me to report, not even a 0.0. I even commented on that. I said, oh, look, not even a 0.0. Well, today we return and go all the way up to near 3. Okay, that's an increase. That's an increase of 3-fold, going from 0 to 3. That's a 1,000-fold increase in power all of a sudden. To go up to 2, if you just go from 0s to 2s, like you don't have anything, and then you just smack dab hit 2s, that's a 100-fold increase in power from nothing. To go from 0 to 2 is a 100-fold increase in power. All right, so that's a big deal to me, and it fulfills the forecast. Now, where did it come from? It came from the earthquake on the West Coast, that 4.0 a day and a half ago. And we're looking for other activity to strike going up to 4 in the Midwest, so watch out for that. But looking at the 0.0 and greater feed, look at this really quick on the West Coast, California, Washington.
I'm telling you, Yellowstone, it's going to go.
Mainly in California.
It's just a matter of time.
We have several swarm locations at the center. This is where our 4 hit. But where are these? Well, would you believe me if I told you that each one of these locations is next to a dormant volcano?
All next to dormant volcanoes in California.
It's not even up for debate. You guys can go check it out. You can go pull the coordinates and look them up. All of these at the California-Nevada border are right next to dormant volcanoes. And there's clusters.
Right near Yellowstone.
Now, Mono Lake is getting hit by a cluster. And Mono Lake is the supervolcano that's nearby. I've shown it so many times in so many past videos. But I probably should show it one more time. Just for, well, I guess I do it each night for the new people who come in and the new people who want to learn. Or maybe people who were watching in past videos and forgot. Or some people who watch past videos and weren't really watching, right? They were doing something else. So let's click in and look. Now, hopefully you can see what I see here, right? Okay, you can. Let's get this out of the way a little bit. Take that over to the side and turn on our place marks in a second. But we'll zoom in on California. And here are our Smithsonian place marks and my place marks. And the Smithsonian place marks will give us a red triangle. See this? This is Mono Lake supervolcano. It's about half the size of Yellowstone.
There it is.
It's not going to erupt, but it's absolutely massive. And on all sides are different volcanoes. So Aurora Crater, Mud Springs Volcanic Butte, Aurora Peak. Up to the north, in between Lake Tahoe and Mono Lake, right in here is where our second swarm is. And over to the east, we have Bald Mountain, and then of course we have geothermal pumping operations that are in here as well. So I'm not shocked to see a swarm of earthquakes striking there. Just backing it out though and looking at the swarms down to the south, Southern California is due to be hit by a new 4.0 earthquake in the next day. So by tomorrow night, most likely by tomorrow night, we'll be reporting on something near 4 striking or at 4.0. And the spot we're looking is between Santa Barbara and down to the east at Salton Sea. So it goes across the LA basin. Gotta warn everybody, because when a 4 strikes, people start to freak out. And I don't want people to freak just because it's a 4. When you get a shaking, you know where it's coming from. It's coming from the 4 that hit to the north. Now, where did the 4 that hit to the north come from? Right here? Where did that come from? Well, guys, there's something going on here. I gotta show you. You ready? Are you ready? Look. Look at the last 24 hours of activity, slow slip-wise on the West Coast.
Wow.
Do you notice anything? Yesterday, we were talking about 2 regions. There were 2 spots that were slow slipping. Now a 3rd cluster has appeared in Vancouver Island. So we have 2 clusters in Vancouver Island and an increase in the cluster down in Oregon. Just a spattering across California, just a few. and just a few going up across Oregon up into Washington. So there's a cluster to the north, 2 clusters really, and a cluster to the south. Now these slow slip clusters indicate that the plate is moving. When the plate moves, that's normal to some extent. When the plate stops moving, one of 2 things occurs. We've noticed this as a pattern. When the plate stops moving and these clusters disappear and there's hardly anything going on after you see this, so first you see a spurt of movement, then you see it stop, then it's followed by a larger earthquake. This has happened several times. It just happened again a day ago with the 4.6. And the spots that are moving on land, you see where the red dots are, the clusters, the spots out to sea are being struck by corresponding movement that's larger. Like the combined total of everything that strikes over the course of several days in these spots then strikes with one single earthquake off the coast. And that's what's been happening. That's what just happened. And it looks like that's what's going to happen again. So we have 2 cluster spots. That reduces our areas to watch, doesn't it? I mean, it means the coast, northwest coast of California, southwest coast of Oregon, that's one spot, and the other spot is up here at Vancouver Island, right? And what's the halfway point between those 2 spots? Halfway point between those 2 spots puts us at the tip of the cleft segment yet once again. It's no shock, no wonder it breaks the pressure and it flows around here like water hitting on a rock. And pressure flows like a seismic fluid. So just understand, we are looking for 2 things to happen at this point. 1, we're looking for the Midwest to get hit and pressure to go all the way over to the East Coast. That has not happened yet. May take a few days for that to happen. Second thing we're looking for is when the slow slip stops. When the slow slip stops, that's when we look for larger movement to strike. With what's going on around the rest of the plate, deep earthquakes, shallower, larger earthquakes, new volcanic eruptions, all these things play into one another, and again, we have to take them into account. One day at a time, you have to keep track on a daily basis. Once you understand that these things are happening in progression, then it's going to make a little bit more sense. So one thing progresses to another, and we can keep track in a day's time. You can see the pressures. Oh, new 7.0
Here it is.
Just struck, guys.
7.0.
7.0 earthquake has just struck. Stop all.
That's an 8.
Things you're doing. Put down your drinks. We got a 7.0 earthquake, 6.7 that just struck over here in Sumatra, Indonesia, right next to the volcano I was just telling you about. All right, hold on. Let's go get a copy of...
And the USGS doesn't report it for a while.
Wow. Sumatra, Indonesia. No tsunami warning, advisory, watch, or threat yet, but they don't have the earthquake reported yet either. Okay, let's analyze this really quick before anybody goes and, freaks out. This 6.7 right here is not going to be big enough to cause a major tsunami. I'm just going to tell you right now. Even though it's close to land, even though it's big, unless it's larger. Like if it pops up and they adjust the magnitude by a full magnitude and you get up into mid-range 7, that is big enough to cause a tsunami. So that's good news, right? That's the good news. Now the bad news on this is that it can cause major damage due to the location of the earthquake. It's close enough to land that it's big enough.
Right while he was live, boom.
Structural damage. Now I would like you to know that the earthquake that's striking is striking in between the volcanoes. So we have.
So if you notice what he's saying and what's happening, as we've been saying, this just gets smashed. The volcanic uptick on the planet is rising every day. Earthquake activity is rising every day. As I stated 3 months ago that this was going to happen, come, and continue to get worse, and it's going to continue to get worse around the globe. And when you start getting up into the 7s, the 8s, the 9s, and higher, and in those ranges, people better wake up. And when you see all this happening around volcanoes that haven't had any activity, that plasma is being heated up because our core is being heated up, and it's happen as a result of our sun and what's happening, as well as the pull that we're having, the magnetic pull between sun, earth, and moon.
That's striking in between the volcanoes, and there's a volcano right next to it, which just blew. The volcano just blew.
The volcano just blew,
So
and there was an earthquake.
Striking on top of all this other activity is no shock. We've seen a cluster of 6s hit this week, and this is just the next one on the list. Here's the other 3. Oh, where did it go?
See? Watch.
It just, there it is. So there's the other 3, and then there's the 4th that just hit. That's now 4 6s, and we've crept up. We went from, again, 6.2, 6.3, 6.5, now we're at 6.7. So 6.7 is getting on the threshold of 7.0, and that's what we were looking for to happen this week. The reason, again, is the deep earthquakes. Look where the deep earthquakes are, and look next to the deep earthquakes, and downstream from the deep earthquakes, and that's where our 6.0 activity is. Just so happens, this is next to our deep 5. So our deep 5, you see it raised high off the globe. Look on both sides of the deep 5. Right next to it, we've got the 6.2, and down to the southwest, we have the 6.7. To the west-northwest, we have the 6.5, 6.3. This is a lot of pressure to expend itself in the past few days. This isn't even a full week. So the past few days, we've seen a dramatic increase. Another way to look at this is look at the 5.0 and greater earthquakes over the past several days, spreading out from our deep earthquake in all directions, going out across the Pacific and dead ending into, for instance, right here. Guess what's right here? Bogoslav volcano. So Bogoslav volcano is right at the end of the 5.0 pressure, and then going out from there, it caught some of the pressure, and then 4s spread out from Bogoslav. But the same thing happens over here in the West Pacific.
That's a lot of earthquake activity. Holy Christ.
Examples can be applied around the whole plate. So this is a large earthquake, and I guarantee it was felt by the people in the area. They're revising the earthquake right now. We'll have to wait and see what shows up with the ultimate magnitude on this, but it is a sizable earthquake. They just downgraded it to 6.4.
They just downgraded it.
Okay, just downgrade to 6.4, and they'll do that. They'll take it down to 6.4, they'll take it back up to 6.8, they might even take it up to 7.0. I would like to go along with you really quick and just see what locations are showing.
Watch this.
Is the USGS even reporting this earthquake yet?
Now watch.
It says the Denver USGS NEIC is reporting the earthquake. So let's just go to earthquake.usgs and go to their latest earthquakes. I mean, they should have it. It's a 7.0 earthquake.
Nothing. Boom.
They don't have it.
I rest my case.
Are you kidding me?
Boom.
You gotta be kidding me, man.
Be right back.
Look, I'm on the USGS. This is the right feed. And it's not just day 1 all magnitude US, it's worldwide. Look, they've got all the other earthquakes on here. They don't have it. Holy crap. Tell me, you guys go over to the USGS site and see if they've got it. I'm going to hit refresh. Wow, I'm hitting refresh and refresh and refresh. They don't have it. Oh my God. Oh, that is epic, man. Okay, well, what can I say? We have to rely on a foreign government to give us information. And look, the USGS NEIC is reporting the earthquake to them. You know what I mean? Like, they're all discussing it amongst each other. They're like, yeah, public can take a back seat. They don't need to know. Okay, hold on. Wow. Okay, here we are. We're going on the on the EMSC, European Mediterranean Seismic Agency. This is one we use, really, guys. Check the For Seismologists page. You go to For Seismologists, latest data contributions, and of course, it's not been reviewed by anybody. You are the seismologist. You are reviewing the data. The reporting agencies are shown over on the right-hand side. GFZ is like Geophone Potsdam. Australia is, of course, Australian. I don't know the other ones. Where we can find out the names for the other ones. So the red one is the one that's being shown, or the one that's being the mix of the bunch. So if you want to see the mix, then it gives you an average mix between the two, body wave magnitude as opposed to just moment magnitude. And so we're at 6.5 from Geophone. I trust Geophone, so let's go see how many stations. Oh yeah. Local magnitude showing 6.6, 7.2, 7.3, 7.1, 7.4, 7.5, 7.4, 7.7, 7.1, 7.8, 7.5, and then some 6s and a few 5s.
See, told you. 7 point this, 7 point that.
Downgrade on that.
They took it and the USGS downgraded it.
Big downgrade.
Told you. Rest case. I rest my case. 7 point this, 7.6, 7.4, all reported by international community. USGS downgraded it. I proved my case. I rest case. People say, Scott, you're wrong. The USGS doesn't downgrade it, doesn't do anything. No, I want Stevens. Stevens doing what I asked him to do, and he has become, Stevens going to become, and is becoming, our MFA, an earthquake reporter, so he can do what Dutch does on our new news channel. And this is what I want, being this type of reports coming in. So, this is my point. My point to show you this is how large the earthquakes are getting and how the USGS downgrades them, and everybody uses the USGS as the rating system when in fact they're much higher than what they are. So when you start getting 7.5s, 7.6 in this range, these are big earthquakes. And you saw the activity. Tons of it. Tons of it. People better wake up to what's happening on this planet. And as I said, it's going to continue to get worse. And what's it happened? Dutch even just said to you in the beginning, he hasn't seen this kind of activity. It's not even a full week yet. And he's seen more activity in the beginning of this week than he has of the week, this coming week, than he's seen ever. I know, it's all, it's just happening. It's all, Not. Yikes. Give me a second because I want to. Here's more very important information that is just dropped. Scientists discover 91 volcanoes below Antarctic ice sheet. This is an additional to the 47 already known about an eruption would melt more ice in region affected by climate change. These gas vents that are popping up in Antarctica are because of all the volcanoes under the ice on that massive continent that's hiding underneath all that ice. '91, all of a sudden. Again, as I said, over the past 3 months, you've watched all this new information coming out. Okay? No, we are globally warming because our planet is changing, our poles are shifting, and there's more radiation from the sun through our magnetosphere. And volcanoes, it's heating. Underground volcanoes, underwater volcanoes are releasing into our oceans hot lava, magma, heating up oceans, and the sun is heating up the ocean as well with its large amounts of radiation getting through. So you have both happening. People have got to have rocks in their head if they do not see what's happening on this planet and how fast it's changing. I don't know. Now we have 91 more volcanoes just below the Antarctic ice sheet. Yes, John, warming from the inside out. Bravo. And that's what causes the plot. When the core heats up, Earth is, as I've tried to say, it's a machine. It's like a furnace. It's like a nuclear reactor. You have your core, etc. Okay, and as the core heats up, it's alive, planet Earth. Like all planet and all things are alive. And as it's heating up, and its magnetic fields are changing, and its frequency is raising, all of this is coming into play. Iron ore is the core, yes. And what's around Nemesis? Iron oxide. The red. You know what, Jane? I'm going to say something. I love animals myself, but I'm going to say something. Earth has gone through billions of years of changes. Life comes, life goes. Same thing with humanity, okay? Same thing with humanity. This planet is cleansing itself and going through its changes. People keep thinking that the government is doing this. The government is not. Yes, they have HAARP, they can control weather and things, but they're not. The government cannot cause all of these earthquakes and to heat the magma in the earth. Yes, as Ruth says, we are living big new history. That is correct. This is a very interesting article. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you read it. U.S. Congress passes bill protecting slave labor on Mars and corporate space colonies. This is actually a true story. This is true. Okay? So, it's a very good read. On November 16th, the U.S. House of Representatives joined the Senate in passing a bill that provides legal protection for space mining conducted by U.S.-based corporations. Good video here. Hang on. Let me fix this so we can see it. Let me get head out of way. I apologize. My Of course they know something they're not telling us, Jane. No disrespect. Why would you think that they would tell us? I don't know why people expect anything less from the government. I don't know why. People, I know you all want to rely on the government, but you cannot rely on the government. Rely on yourselves, and that's why we formed this organization, to rely on ourselves and doing our own investigations and researching and getting the true news to ourselves to keep everyone informed in this group. This is the idea. No disrespect. I don't know why you want to trust the government. Never trust the government. They're not going to tell you shit. They're not going to tell you anything that they don't want you to know. Oops.
Money, power, influence. This is 10 families who secretly control the world. Number 10, Slim. Between 2010 and 2013, Carlos Slim Halo was patriarch of the richest family in the world.
Just so you know, he hates Donald Trump. This is Donald Trump's arch nemesis of one of the top families, just so you know that. Connected to the biggest drug lords on the planet. I actually know some of the people that this man knows in Central and South America and Mexico. Fact.
Now at age 76, Carlos's wealth still stands at a heady $50 billion. He consolidated this fortune through Grupo Carso, a conglomerate he set up that owns shares in an estimated 40% of companies on the Mexican Stock Exchange. His worth works out at 7% of Mexico's...
Stop. I want to explain something to everybody before I get into this. And as Connie was there with us setting up all the MFA organizations, that's how it's going to be. March for America LLC owns this next LLC, the next LLC, the next membership LLC, for Underground, Survival Group, Development Corp, Atlas City 1, Atlas City 2, Atlas City 3, our new Missile Base Sales Corporation, and then the Development Corporation owns that of building bunkers, the construction company to do the construction, the same thing that Carlos Slim has done with his main organization all the way down. And this profit type sharing is going to be done via memberships. Okay, this is an incredible setup that we have coming and we've been working on. And just watch. So, Marilyn, I know, I got to ask you guys something. Why is everybody still stuck on Hillary Clinton? Why do people still even bother with Hillary Clinton? Hillary Clinton is an old, wasted woman, okay? Why do you even bother yourself with Hillary Clinton? I'm just curious. Why do you let Hillary Clinton and anything she's done take up static in your mind? Or Obama or anyone. They're not presidents anymore. They're not anything. I'm just asking. I just never allow these people and these corrupt politicians to take up space in your brain. I see so many people every day, and that's why I've gotten away from this constant Trump, Hillary bullshit, Russia shit, because there's much more important things to go on, including yourself, your family, the world around you, and the like. Stressing yourself about shit that can't be changed. And Hillary Clinton, the situation with Clinton, and that is not going to be changed. She's an old, wasted woman. Believe me. She's living in her own hell. So she's evil. So is another billion people plus on this planet. Billion, at least a billion people got evil in them. So what? Why let it take up space in your brain? You're not going to change it unless you got millions of people behind you that are going to stand up against Hillary Clinton. I've been saying that for a year now. And people still don't get it, but yet they argue all day long and stress themselves out about Hillary Rodham Clinton. Even Trump keeps throwing that shit out there. Well, why aren't you investigating Hillary Clinton and all this? I'm going to say it again. Donald, you control the Justice Department with Jeff Sessions. Why aren't you investigating and busting out and taking care of Hillary Clinton and the likes of what she's done? Why are you tweeting about it? You're the president. You can order that at any time. Just saying. It's the most ridiculous bullshit argument, static, wasting thing that there is. All puppets, all corrupt, both sides, not going to help you or I. Or anyone else in this group, sorry to tell you. These politicians are not going to do anything for us. Nothing. In fact, they're making it worse. If you allow them to take up space in your brain, then they're doing exactly what they've set out to do. Take up space in your brain and distract you from the truth. Fact.
GDP. Proportionally translated to the USA, he'd be a trillionaire. He's even the largest shareholder in the New York Times. Donald Trump blamed him for his recent sexual assault scandal that appeared in the paper, citing a global conspiracy that Slim was behind, which was designed to influence the US election. Slim himself was a donor to the Clinton campaign. Slim is careful with his money. He refrains from yachts and mansions dotted around the world. He's been accused of taking advantage of state privatization, running monopolies, and artificially inflating prices, making living difficult. Phone charges are up to 10 times more expensive in Mexico than comparable developing countries. And the average Mexican can't get through the day without every aspect of their life being under the control of Slim's family. This has given rise to the country's popular nickname, Slimlandia. Number 9. DuPont. The DuPonts have a sprawling network of 3,500 family members worth a combined total of $14 billion. They have remained one of America's richest families for over 100 years after E.I. DuPont fled the French Revolution and started a gunpowder company. Over time, DuPont branched out into other chemicals and explosives, employing engineers who invented Kevlar, nylon, and Teflon. Today, as they are so numerous, the DuPonts do not directly control the business, although they still hold many shares. How have they used their power? Well, a DuPont has attempted to gain control of the White House. Pete DuPont IV, who was governor of Delaware, ran for president in the Republican primaries in 1988. And remember that they invented Teflon? Well, they also hid the fact that it was toxic, and in 2016 was sued to the tune of $1.6 million for inflicting kidney cancer on people. Teflon traces are found in the blood of 98% of Americans. Then there's Heir Robert Richards, who pleaded guilty to raping his own 3-year-old daughter. Using his money and influence, he managed to evade any jail time, despite previously being accused of molesting his son as well. He now lives comfortably off his trust fund in 2 homes. Number 8. Ferrero. On Valentine's Day in 2015, Michelle Ferrero passed away in Monte Carlo, leaving behind $23 billion and an Italian chocolate empire. The family owned Ferrero Rocher, Kinder, Tic Tacs, and, most deliciously, Nutella. Michelle was the 3rd member of the family to own the business, and he made his son CEOs in the late 80s. He was known as one of Europe's richest and most secretive tycoons, and was famously cagey about his influence. And in 2012, his family were accused of siphoning millions out of foreign banks in fake payments for hazelnuts. Strangely, the family would jet to the Lord's Shrine yearly in a religious effort to boost hazelnut growth. Ferrero was also part of the shadowy Salotto Bueno, an Italian historical club known for backroom dealings that allowed industry to collude. The company was accused of pandering to Nazism recently in a German advertising campaign that ran with the slogan, "Germany votes white and yes, white can," although they claimed it was innocently about white chocolate. Number 7. Bush. Prescott Bush, father of George Bush Sr. and grandfather of George W. Bush, has been accused of extensive scheming over the years. Prescott, along with his kin, was a member of the notorious Skull and Bones secret society at Yale. In 1933, he conspired to stage a military coup to overthrow Roosevelt's presidency and replace it with a regime that would instill the values of Hitler and Mussolini. Part of the Bush family wealth actually comes from trading with Nazi organizations during the Second World War. The Guardian discovered via National Archives that Prescott's German assets were eventually seized in 1942. In the wake of 9/11, the Bush administration also covered up the extent of the Saudi kingdom's involvement. Jonathan Bush financed his nephew's run for the White House and found investors for his first oil project in the area, which could explain the leniency. Number 6. Astor. Members of the Astor family, which included America's first millionaire, went on to build hotels, become British politicians.
I know 2 of them from Long Island.
Edit newspapers, and own a chunk of Manhattan. The original family fortune was worth $100 billion, and, like many on this list, they were accused of harboring sympathy for the Nazis. Using the Observer newspaper in the UK, David Astor successfully pushed for the abolishment of the death penalty, the decolonization of Africa, and tolerance of homosexuality. In almost all cases, laws were passed that furthered his liberal agenda. Today, the Astors are spread out across the world in positions of influence. Ex-Prime Minister David Cameron counts the Astors as in-laws, who helped him secure a job early in his career. A further 2 Astors are currently lords in the British Parliament. Number 5. Tata. As of 2016, the Indian Tata family's multinational conglomerate is worth over $100 billion and employs 660,000 people across the world. Ratan Tata is the current man in charge, and the 6th successive Tata to oversee the company in its 150-year history. Although they are known primarily for steel manufacturing, it was their tea company in Assam that got them into hot water. A number of taped conversations revealed that the Tata family was involved in a power play, pitting the central Indian government against the regional government of Assam. The company was also fined nearly $1 billion this year by a US grand jury for stealing trade secrets and data from Epic Systems, an American software company that is used for over half the country's medical data. The Tatas now spend nearly $1 million every year lobbying in the USA on issues such as immigration of workers.
They spent more than that.
Number 4. Walton. The Waltons have been branded the greediest family in the world by Gawker. Their name may give you a hint that they own the world's largest retailer, Walmart. As a result, they're worth around $130 billion, way more than the bottom 40% of Americans. Masters of tax manipulation, according to Bloomberg News, Walmart ranks among the top political donors since 1989, pushing to control tax and labor law. In 2014, the Labour Board claimed that Walmart had violated labor laws in 14 states, implicating over 60 members of staff. They have spent over $80 million since the turn of the century, partly funding campaigns for offices of sympathetic candidates. Whatever it is, it's working. Since the recession of 2007, Americans have seen a 40% drop in wealth, yet the Waltons have managed to increase their hoard by 96%, in part by $7.8 billion.
Does anybody just catch a serious fact here? Since 2008 recession, 40% of all Americans have dropped in their wealth. Do you understand? 40% of all Americans have dropped in their wealth. The middle class in the United States is almost gone. So regardless of any of these great job creations and things that are happening, people are getting poorer in the United States, and the rich are getting richer. Fact. So statistically, when all these politicians argue back and forth, Americans are getting poorer. Just like what happened and you see in Venezuela and other countries. That's why you're going to see chaos and the like in the United States. It's not a matter of if. Not a matter of if, it's a matter of when it's going to hit that point. It only takes a very slight tip of the scales in this market that is, the stock market that is imploding up and up. One tip. And you're going to see beyond 2008 one of the biggest recessions to hit, and then you'll see about 60% of Americans drop in wealth and it will be eaten alive, and the big corporations will skate free, and they continue to grow. This is the fact that our great politicians don't want to tell the world. We are in the process of doing Atlas City with the corporations and the like. These things take, we're going as fast as we can with our own organizations, and that's why membership and joint unity amongst thousands of people in an organization can get more done and create more safety amongst themselves than they can relying on any government. This is what I'm trying to say. And get the experts involved to create our own pool for insurance and the like. Yes, they systematically wiped out the middle class. And it's getting worse. It is getting worse. We are the next Venezuela in the works. And let the violence continue, and let's just get this major planetary changes thrown right in there. And watch what happens. You're going to have chaos. And I can't stress it enough. And if people think I'm wrong, good luck. Because I'm not. Sadly.
In annual government subsidies and tax breaks. Number 3, Rockefeller. Even today, the Rockefellers are super wealthy, with $11 billion spread out between 174 family members. J.D. Rockefeller began it all with the Standard Oil Company that got too big for the government and was split up into Chevron, BP, and ExxonMobil. David Rockefeller, ex-head of JP Morgan Chase, was ever present at the Bilderberg conferences. Oddly, he turned down jobs as Secretary of the Treasury and Chairman of the Federal Reserve. But maybe that would have gotten in the way of his close and controversial relationship with the Shah of Iran. In 1975, he met a young Margaret Thatcher and fell in love with her steely resolve. He ferried her around in limousines, meeting presidents, spy chiefs, and bankers. 4 years later, she was the first female Prime Minister of Britain. She instituted questionable policy reforms that ushered in a new inequality in capitalism, working to the advantage of those already with big money, like the Rockefellers. Number 2, Windsor. The Windsor family has been established at the throne of Great Britain for almost 100 years, and all political decisions must still be rubber-stamped into law by the monarch. The royal family's real influence is much more insidious than this, though. Reported backroom conversations, lobbying, and pressure being applied by members of the royal family are just some potential examples. Look at the lead letters of Prince Charles, which requested that the NHS keep providing homeopathy treatment, as well as the advice Tony Blair received on military strategy. Normally, we don't hear of their inner dealings, though. They have sovereign control of the royal archives, which contain their journals and letters, some of which is hidden from the general public. This allows them to operate unscrutinized, but also lets conspiracy theories flourish. Did they collaborate with the Nazis?
Yes.
Were they responsible for Diana's death?
Yes.
Are they reptoids hell-bent on world domination?
Yes.
Number 1, Rothschild.
Boom!
The Rothschild Empire began in 18th century Germany, where
And just so you know, when he gives you this total wealth, he's way off. Rothschilds are worth at least 50, you don't even want to know, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. No one actually knows the Rothschilds' true wealth. But in my investigations, they are in the trillions and trillions of dollars, and they control the gold on the planet.
I'm sure Rothschild worked in banking. Meyer managed to consolidate his wealth and engage in international trading, installing his 5 sons in 5 major cities across Europe. Their financial domination grew to proportions never before seen, making them still the richest family to ever live. The control afforded by vast private wealth blurred into conspiracy theories rife with anti-Semitism. Accusations raged that they fund both sides in wars, finance the Holocaust, and exert control over central banks across the world.
Fact.
Their supposed motivation is the establishment of a new world order. A single global government that has totalitarian control. It has been asserted by some that they own 80% of the world's wealth, while others claim that they have a net worth of $500 trillion.
Yeah, I agree.
Given that total global wealth was estimated to be $250 trillion in 2015, this does not hold up by any standards. Today, however,
you're not counting their gold, my man.
And the centralized Rothschild Group does operate banking ventures in 57 cities, as well as advising the Queen personally.
Enough said. Enough said. They own the world. I fully believe the Rothschild family is the descendants of the Anunnaki. They look just like them. And they inbreed. They do not breed out of their clan. Just so you know, the Rothschilds, the story, I did a big show about 9 months back about Rothschilds and Rockefellers. The Rothschilds wanted into the oil industry and to control the oil on the planet, and because Rockefeller controlled the oil, they got and merged together, the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. It was a purposeful setup by the Rothschilds to get involved with the Rockefellers, befriend them, and go into business together, and this is puts the two of them at the height of the control of the world, and it's a fact. Yes, Kathy, I have heard of the Black Pope. This, very important. Libya's military strongman, Haftar to meet Russian FM Lavrov in Moscow. Okay? The Egypt-linked Libyan military commander is arriving in Moscow on Saturday for a series of meetings with Russian diplomatic and Putin. The reason why this is so important right here is Russia's about to move into Libya and cut a deal to put Russian bases and protect and bring back Libya so that it controls Libya and kicks us and what the CIA did with Clinton and the likes to the curb to Gaddafi. Russia's took over Syria. Libya is its next target, along with the Chinese. Okay? The Chinese are in Syria as well with the Iranians and the Russians, and Russia controls Syria. Do not kid yourself. We do not. And Russia has land base deals for 25 years plus, and then control over all Syrian land. People must remember that we are not in Syria at war under congressional approval. We have actually invaded Syria unconstitutionally, and that is a true fact. Russia has not. Russia was invited there. Russia has bases there. Russia has a legitimate legal deal with Syria. The U.S. does not. How do they keep from having messed up people for inbreeding? Well, Candy, they've had some problems with inbreeding in the Rothschild family, but they inbreed. And they stick, and they state themselves that they are descendants of the gods and their bloodline. And I fully believe that they are more Anunnaki than human, as well as some of the other top families as well. Not so much the Rockefellers, but the Rothschilds and the Queen and the English families, yes. Russia is moving its strategic points all over, including that of Cuba still. Okay? Man who turned underground nuclear bunker into EU, 2 million EU a year cannabis factory got jailed. This is a great story. Former mass MOD underground nuclear bunker, in fact, capable of producing 2 million worth of cannabis. The trio were caught leaving the disused bunker in a tiny town of Chilmark in southeast England on Friday. In the 1980s, the bunker was designed to shelter local government in the event of nuclear holocaust. There's another story. Cannabis company buys entire California town to create marijuana tourist destination. Right here. August 4th. They bought the entire town. American Green, a marijuana technology company, announced the purchase a small town in San Bernardino County with the intention of turning it into the country's first energy-independent, cannabis-friendly hospitality destination. The cannibal revolution that's going on here in the U.S. has the power to completely revitalize communities in the same way gold did during the 19th century. Fully agree and concur. Big money. We have Charlottesville, sorry. Come on, computer, slow. Homeowner finds 15-inch crater with meteor inside. Yes, it did. Just so everybody knows, these meteors have nothing to do with Planet X. This is from a prior comet that passed by us years ago. Plan your vacation now. I don't smoke pot, so. However, I do see it as a great opportunity to create an underground in a bunker that you can, in a bunker facility that we can pick up in Colorado for, you know, a couple $100,000, turn the former nuclear missile base into that of an entire cannabis factory. Boom. Talk about making serious profit and having it underground in a hydroponics growing environment. Well, that's the good use of an underground bunker space in Colorado. Lots of money. So we're looking into a base for that as we speak. No joke. It's a great idea. It would make everything, not just cannabis, cannabis oil, cannabis everything, but we would grow our own different types of marijuana there. I would put somebody else in, charge of that stuff. But MFA would be, own the corporation and the bunker, obviously, to build it. I mean, to grow it. It's also a good area to test out hydroponics, new types of hydroponics, growing and things of that nature in a bunker space. Yeah, you can buy pot in Colorado with a visa. They have them. I've been in the airport in Colorado, and you come out, they have machines. There's machines. You can buy packs of cigarettes that are marijuana cigarettes right from a machine, already rolled, different types, flavors, types. I mean, breed, everything. Elon Musk, artificial intelligence, vastly more of a threat than North Korea. Fact. I just said it a week ago, and then this article comes out. People need to worry about their jobs. They're not going to have any jobs. We survive pole shift 10 years from 10 years from now. You're going to see many jobs going away. So let me ask you something. Let me ask everybody something. If robotics take over man's job, which they're doing all over the place, what happens to all the people with no jobs? What happens to all the people with no jobs? And you're talking millions of people, not thousands. You're talking millions and millions of people being replaced by robotics, by robots and technology. Yeah, they die. So, yes, Kathy, you learn to work on the robotics, but there's still only so many jobs available for that. Yes, I know they're making robots as sex partners now, and they're becoming very, very prominent. Honda is actually behind that as well. That's why people need to understand, and we're not. We're talking only 5-10 years away from this type of stuff here. Meaning the taking over of robotics. They're already taking over in many factories. Drones are delivering for Amazon. Everything. You won't be needing UPS drivers soon. You won't be needing FedEx drivers soon. You won't be needing any of this stuff. People are going to start to get their mail online, by the way. That's the next move. The U.S. Postal Service is going to go bye-bye within 10 years. Okay? Or less. So, again, population control on this planet. Where are you going to put people to work? No jobs. How are you going to support them? How are you going to feed them? So the governments have got to get rid of the people. What are you going to do with them? Where are they going to work? How are they going to feed themselves? What are they going to do? These are serious questions people don't want to ask themselves, but you need to ask yourself that out of the billions of people on this planet, including the United States, hundreds of millions. Robotics is taking over, so where do people get jobs? How do they survive? And that's why you see the rich. It's rich. It used to be poor, middle class, and then the rich. Now it's poor, little middle class, and then boom, all rich. Just saying. Just saying. Oh, people on Social Security and SSD&I, forget it. 10 years from now, it's not happening. It's going to be gone. Even 8, 10 years from now, it's gone. It's gone. Trust me, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And people go, oh, that's not true. I don't know how you can't see it. I don't know how people can't see it or understand it, or maybe they don't want to believe it. But facts are facts. Yes, employers won't pay insurance for robots either. No unemployment either. And point being, and Elon Musk is correct, and I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to predict something to everyone here. And I know this because I saw it, and I can't explain it to you, but I'm going to tell you something. This man here, Elon Musk, okay? Elon Musk is going to go on to become one of the most famous men in the world for space travel, moon and Mars bases, and the like over the next 30 years, 20 to 30 years. Meaning 10 years major, 20, etc. But this man here, and he's being fueled and powered by the great families that be and world governments. SpaceX has already been militarized. Just like this great rocket, I'm going to go back to that story right now. Yes, pensions will be gone also. Now I'm going to go to this top story right here. Zip. Where we go? Zip. Sorry. Right here. SpaceX to launch supercomputer to space. SpaceX is poised to launch an unmanned cargo ship toward the international. Now listen to what the words say. Toward the International Space Station Monday, including a supercomputer that could direct astronauts on future deep space missions. Okay? No, Carolyn, they did not pass a law to not be able to use slave labor on Mars. They passed a law that allows corporations to use and mining rights on the moon and Mars, and allows big corporations to use human labor in space to mine Mars and Earth, and the moon. Okay, this rocket right here. I'm also going to give you something else that I predict, and let's see if I'm right. I have a feeling that this rocket is going to blow up. This large rocket is massive, and there may be serious problems with this rocket right here. And it's carrying something very, very important, and it is this alleged supercomputer that will direct astronauts on future deep space missions. We are already going on deep space missions, so it's carrying something else. Okay? People have to understand there's already a base on the moon, there's already shit on Mars. They're just slowly bringing this out as if they are just creating it now. That's a lie. That is an outright, utter lie. John, I don't believe anything about the International Space Station. I know from my even insider at DOD, it's all garbage. Okay? They're going to tell you the International Space Station is just a big cover story for a lot of bullshit. Okay? We have bases on the moon. We have bases on Mars already. Pence coming out and saying we're going to put boots on the moon and Mars recently is just, we already have them there. I'm telling you, they're already there. And they're going to slowly just release that we've come up with this great technology to get there, and it's going to be like, wow, here we go, dun 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 dun, when we've already been there. Okay, meaning we were already going there. We're already going there. And this is just a big farce, just like the space shuttle. Do I have an idea what it's going to be carrying? Sort of. So to speak, yes, I do. I believe it. If they're saying that it's this supercomputer, you have to read what they're saying here. And I have some other information. It says, toward the International Space Station. Now look at the words, toward. SpaceX is poised to launch an unmanned cargo ship toward the International Space Station Monday, including a supercomputer that could direct astronauts on future deep space missions. SpaceX, Elon Musk, is the future of what people are going to know on this planet as space travel to the moon and Mars and bases on the moon and Mars, when we already have it there. Does anybody remember, let me look it up, that we sent and nuked the moon? We blew up something on the moon and they said it was for an experiment. Let me find it on Google for everybody. Hang on a second. Hang on, I gotta find the right article. Let me see if I can get it on YouTube. Okay. Hang on. Watch this video. Okay? Just hang on. No, they're not going to blow the... I'm telling you there's something... I feel something's going to happen to that rocket. I don't know if it's going to have a good launch or whatever. I'm just telling you. No. Guys, I don't know. How long have you all watched me? How much evidence have I shown you? We have been going to the moon and to Mars and other planets for a very long time. They just have not made it public. There are other beings out there. We have gotten the technology from them. There's been a moon base on the dark side of the moon. That's why you never see the other side of the moon. Did you ever ask yourself why no one ever takes pictures of the other side of the moon? I'm going to show you a video now, okay? Okay? They're slowly releasing that and just like Pence just came out, they put a special, what did we do? We put a special military division of space together. We said we're going to put boots on the moon and Mars. Okay? We're already there. They're just coming public and slowly bringing this out. We've been going to Mars a long time. I've shared you articles and showed you in shows. NASA just says that they want to create what? A magnetosphere around Mars so it's habitable. Google what I'm telling you. NASA to create a magnetosphere around Mars. We just found and learned over the past couple of years that our own magnetosphere is what? Man-made. That means Earth is no accident. If we are controlling our magnetic field shields around our planet, and we can do it for other planets, then our technology is much, much advanced than what we have, and the truth is just being revealed to the world that we created the magnetic field, meaning not we, beings created the magnetosphere around Earth. Earth is connected to the sun through a magnetic portal. Google it. So is the moon. All of this is perfectly aligned and set up. So if beings and man created the magnetosphere around Earth, and they're creating one, they're alleging they're going to put one around Mars. I believe there's already one there. What they're trying to say is they're putting all this together and showing it to the world. We need lots of money to put people on Mars. We need to put a base on the moon for minerals and all the other. It's a way to get money from the public to keep funding black operations and the like, while they already have the technology, and then they just slowly release it out to the world. One more time. Slave planet. We can go to Mars anytime, and we go. I'm telling you. You're going to learn that we go to Mars all the time. Boom, 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 boom. I'm telling you. This shit that they go up there, everybody looks at the International Space Station. You got to be kidding me, right? It's like a hunk of junk. It's a hunk of junk. Our stealth bombers can travel from Earth to space at any time. Don't kid yourself. The technology on and I know this for a fact, stealth bombers could go right now from Earth directly into space. Right through. Thump. Right up into space. Our major stealth bombers. That's why they cost billions and billions of dollars to make. That's no space shuttle. That thing's much more advanced than that. You ever seen one in person? You ever seen a stealth bomber fly over your head? I have. That's a spaceship. That's an advanced ship, aircraft that blows your mind. And we didn't get that technology from people messing around. They're not going to tell you. Why do people believe that the government is going to tell you this stuff? I don't get it. I don't get it. Sorry, I'm not trying to laugh at you. I just don't get it. I'm going to show you something. Watch this video right now, okay? Just please, watch this video. Let me make sure it's centered right for you. Hang on. I want you to watch this. As Stephen just said, the stealth bomber isn't for radar shape, it's for entry into our atmosphere. Ruth, we already are slave labor. When are you going to get it? Humans are slave labor. They've controlled us since the inception. Religion, power, war. We already are the slave labor, hence prison planet. Prison planet. People just shock me sometimes, and I'm not trying to be rude. I really am not. I'm being straight sorry, and I'm not trying to be rude. I want you to watch this, please.
You've listened to everybody on YouTube. You were hoping everybody had the answer, weren't you? Tell the truth. You did go and listen to everybody on YouTube, all the strange stuff. There's several videos you looked at with your door closed, and when somebody walked in, you'd turn it off. You would be caught alive watching some of the things that you do watch. Not that it's dirty, it's because it's crazy, but you're looking in those places for truth. But I give you the scenario. When when prophecy turns into reality, we're going to need some real direction.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Looking out into the vastness of the universe, the greatest mystery is right here. Right under our feet. The ultimate aim of all science, to penetrate the unknown. These are the stories that will make you say, what the fuck?
WTF, Gary? WTF? What the fuck does WTF mean? What the fuck? Oh,
We could potentially go totally off the rails tonight, really. I know I've said that before, and I haven't really gone off the rails. It might actually unleash tonight. Have you guys ever contemplated doing something and where you knew a time would come where you'd have to state something that would make you look like a maniac?
Yup, every day.
Because normally when I speak, 5 people actually hear and 1,500 are angry. So they get angry at me every time I speak. But that's okay. So long as it's truth, right? But there is a truth. One day, you know yourselves you're going to have to try it. You're going to have to tell it to somebody. It's the truth you never want to speak of, but you are given that truth and it's yours, and you're the only person that can give it, but you don't want to give it. You question that truth yourself. But there comes a point in time where you have to talk about it. My time is approaching faster than I would like it to. There are certain things that the world is looking forward to I am not looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to. Most people think that diversity in this country makes it a wonderful place. I do not think diversity makes it a wonderful place. I think freedom does. Not the freedom as they have defined it either. See, we're not going outside. We don't have a military escort stopping your car and throwing you in jail because you want to go to church. When you log on to any website that's religious, you don't have anybody breaking down your doors to take all your computers and put you on a train. You don't have that, right? So we have freedom. That's what makes this country great. Well, I know it's strange because people can complain. I don't like complaints. They do all sorts of things. They have protests in the street that do nothing, but protests don't do anything. I hate to tell you that, it's the truth. Protests are people getting together ranting. It doesn't work. It really doesn't. Because you have to have moral people running the system for a protest to actually work. Nobody cares if somebody else throws a protest. But they do care what the world thinks about them. Well, we may talk about that since you're protesting. 5 days later, nobody's talking about it. Hey, whew, that's over. We sure got them. Let's tell them we'll do it as soon as we can. Talk about it every 6 months, and they'll believe it all the way until I get out of office. Let's do that. That's the way it really works. All the while, a true nation has been forming. Now, tonight's topic, we're going to get into parts of a delusion of epic proportions. I'm telling you right now, your parents were in a strong delusion. Your parents' parents were in a strong delusion. You know it's a delusion because people right now do not believe that delusion has come. Number one, they changed it. They say great deception. That's not what it is. There's a difference between a deception and a delusion, two different things. A delusion is something you accept as reality, as being real. That's just the way it is. And I'm telling you, that delusion has begun a long time ago.
Amen.
So what in the world is that strong delusion? You can't see it, but you can feel it. Because in your soul of souls, you keep saying to yourself, well, something is off. You've listened to everybody on YouTube. You were hoping everybody had the answer, weren't you? Tell the truth. You did go and listen to everybody on YouTube, all the strange stuff. You would be caught alive watching some of the things that you do watch. Not that it's dirty, it's because it's crazy. But you're looking in those places for truth. Huh? You know something is wrong. You're trying, you've got all of you have your fingers stuck up, and you're saying, I'm going to put my finger on it. So you're walking around with one finger stuck up in the air so you can put your finger on it as soon as you find it. You've been on a hunt for many years trying to find out what in the world is wrong.
CERN.
But nothing has ever settled. Nothing. Because no one dared come forth to say it, or did they? Let me give you an example of just how fast we forget, all of us who look at the strange happenings of the earth. Can I do this just so you guys understand what I'm saying? Because people have uttered things and you can't remember. I'm going to show you how that works. Can I demonstrate to you how that works? Everybody listen. I need to demonstrate to you just how fast you can forget and just how much you can accept a big, huge lie and be fine with it. You ready? Are you guys ready? Because you were blindsided. You thought nothing about it. Something happened a long time ago in view of everybody who wanted to see. They told you a big one. Okay, here it is. It was advertised, it was marketed, it was told on television, hey, don't miss the big event of something smashing into the moon. You guys remember that? Who remembers that? How that they were going to crash something, cause an explosion on the moon. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember that? Huh?
NASA now has a new plan for the moon. They're going to bomb it tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much. We have an announcement to make. On July 4th of this year, America will blow up the moon.
Do you see?
America can, should, must, and will blow up the moon. And we'll be doing it during a full moon, so we make sure we get it all.
The greatest dream of a high school experiment you could have, and we're doing it to a little piece of ourselves to understand what it might be telling us about the history of water in the solar system and how the moon really worked.
Do you see? Do you see?
Yes, I see.
That was during the Obama administration. Do you remember? They had it on commercials and television. I was, in fact, when they made that announcement, I said, boy, they're getting bold. They just, you don't tell people anything.
If there's enough water there, you can use it for rocket fuel to come home. You can use it for water to drink, or you can split it to make just oxygen and bring some nitrogen. So it's called in situ resource utilization. That's NASA speak for using stuff that's there.
And then the reaction from the public was astounding, right? It was astounding. Everybody said, oh, that's boring. That's what they said, that's boring. Are you kidding? This is what they did. Hardly any viewers saw that. Now, they told people something. Nobody wanted to see it. They didn't care about it. It exploded. They showed it on television the next day, reported that on the news, and the ratings went down. That's what happens when you tell a truth. And then people came up with their own definition, and so finally they laid that saying, well, they achieved what they want to achieve, and you didn't hear about the story anymore. Most people forgot it, didn't they? Didn't they? Here's the funny part. It was recorded. Many people had recorded that episode themselves through their powerful telescopes and actually saw it.
I believe the moon is
being made. A lot of people at one time recorded that, but nobody wanted to see it. That is so funny. Now, why would you send something up there to explode? Here's the funny part. They send something up there to blow the topsoil away, so they say on the moon, right? To blow it away, so they can analyze the fragments that shoot up in the air. That was their excuse.
Now we have a lot of permanently shadowed craters on the moon which contain hundreds of tons. It's been estimated on the North Pole alone, 600 million tons of water. That's enough to make 1.2 trillion pints of Guinness. Okay? Now, just think if we had that. Not that we could drink it all, because we don't need it so much for drinking.
Let's stop right here real quick. This lie is one of the biggest lies on the planet. So let me ask you something. Does anybody know what 75% of the Earth's surface is? Water. Right? So we want to find out if there's water on the moon. Right? Bullshit. This is what many people, even in this group, still do not understand. When they lie big, people believe it. And the bigger they lie, the more people believe it. And if you look at the moon and its perfect craters and all the alike, I fully believe, and after tons of research and other things, but in my gut, that the moon was created. I do not believe it's just some rock that formed exactly, and I believe all living planets that have a moon, pretty much it's been created just like we create our magnetosphere. And there's much information that the moon is not what it is. And even recent pictures that have been sent in because something's malfunctioning here. When you look at the moon at nighttime, it's not what it is. It's a much bigger, it's something else. It looks like the picture of the moon, but it's not the moon when you really look at it close.
But what we do is we split it apart, we get hydrogen and oxygen, and those are our two major rocket fuels. So when we leave the Earth, 85% of our mass is gone because it's rocket fuel. We get to the moon, we got an empty gas tank. Then we fill up with our hydrogen and oxygen. We now have a full gas tank. We can go boom, we can go to Mars, we can go wherever we want.
Now, listen, folks, that was their excuse. So in other words, what I'm telling you, there was no planning, right? All of a sudden one day we sent something up there. And what we're going to do is crash it into the moon to see what particles come up. And the public bought that hook, line, and sinker, save for those who were fixated on the very spot where it exploded. And then they had
a real
cool video of something. And they were never allowed. See, they were posted on YouTube, and YouTube took them down within 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep. A base.
Nobody could actually post what they had recorded.
They blew up a base on the moon.
Many different vantage points. They took them down. 15 minutes, they were gone. Well, if it's so, if it's so mundane, why would they take them down? It didn't show anything, did it? Or did it?
Some of the shapes, as I said, some of the buildings were very tall. There were spherical and domed buildings.
There is a stunning three-dimensional girder-like geometry, a scaffolding, rebar, a structural matrix standing above the moon, anchored to the surface by a set of slanted buttresses. The geometry is perfect, meaning it absolutely is consistent with what constructional techniques would be there if you had built something miles high above the current surface of the moon.
How did YouTube respond so fast in 15 minutes? Because they were waiting for anybody to post videos, that's why. Why didn't they want you to see somebody else's vantage point? Because it's connected to the moon. That big object in the sky you've seen all your life and you still don't know what it is. That thing. The thing that's covered with dust and stuff like that, and you think it's dead. That thing, you know nothing about that thing. And then they scrubbed it from everything. There are specific sites you can go to go look into all the missions they have, and I can assure you the data is missing. Isn't it funny? The real data is gone. I mean, they just scrubbed the thing. It went out of your memory, and now, guess what? People really buy those. They were just looking for, see if water was up there.
Bullshit.
Isn't that funny? I mean, come on. We've had things go to Mars, and they told us about every single launch because they bragged on themselves. They didn't brag on this one, did they? They mentioned it quickly, and it happened quickly. Now, we all know NASA does not work that way, don't we? They don't do anything quickly. What is wrong with us? All of a sudden, they do something that really doesn't mean a hill of beans, and they do it quick. All of a sudden, quick, right? And everything works right, and they achieve it. They've done everything slow and had problems with everything. Their lie almost broke down. That's why they didn't want those people to put that up on YouTube. You see, there are parts of the moon you can't ever see.
Boom.
But during that time, for those who track the moon, the phase of the moon was very strange. In other words, that was during, it just so happens, that was during the shifting of the moon.
Boom.
Now, when I say a moon shift, that means the same side that faces us was not facing us that time. It was tilted just enough.
Boom.
To see something else. And when that explosion went off, well then, it's what happened afterward. They didn't want anybody to see. Because it was quite blinding after the explosion. So what are we missing here? Something is missing. Anybody familiar with Operation Argos?
Boom.
Starfish Crime? These 1960s and 50s operations, or what they were doing in the high altitudes of the atmosphere. Some of you who have worked in certain areas, this is part of your history. You know about them. You've been briefed on them. But that has to do with what we're going through now. All of this is part of the delusion.
Boom.
And because of that delusion, it's very difficult to accept prophecy. And because you can't accept prophecy, your hopes are being dashed every single day. That's why everybody wants a date.
Yep.
Because they continue to ask year after year, well, is it going to happen this year? I really wish it would happen this year. In fact, it's so bad they have people looking forward to prophecy. The very prophecies they shouldn't look forward to. I think is a good thing and a bad thing. The good part is this. They really want to get out of here because they see the darkness. The bad thing is this. They have no idea what they're asking for. So, to inspect the delusion and to understand prophecy, a delusion is a perceived realm, a mindset that no one can deliver you from. A delusional person does not know they are delusional. So if somebody's walking around and they don't tell you, but in their mind they think the sky is pink, there's nothing you can do to change that.
Boom.
I tell you, it's been going on for a long time. What about the maps that were found in Babylon that depict the continents of the earth back then as they are now?
Boom.
With the same accuracy. How about that? Oh, they didn't tell you about that? I'm sorry. Yes, they had global maps just like we have. Of course, in a catastrophe, all the minerals and everything else are going to go back into the earth, and the only thing that will maintain is a stone. Metals will be consumed. That's why there are rust marks all over the stones. Hinges, right? Laser precision. We're just foolish enough to believe in evolution, so we say, well, surely they didn't have a laser. They didn't have that cutting ability. So it seems like all the evidence was washed away, and how it kept, they keep it secret, don't they? They keep it all secret. That's why they're the first ones at the site, and then we get to see after they dug it all up. It'd be nice to see an archaeological dig from start to finish, wouldn't it? Of course, you can't go near those places because you're not cleared to be in those places. They never show you that. They show you the aftermath after they grabbed everything interesting. It is so funny with the pyramids because I remember a long time ago when they were digging in certain pyramids, here's what they said. Well, we have a couple things here, a couple things there, a couple things there. Right? Just recently in 2011, here they pop up with all these other artifacts that they told us were in Iraq. I thought they found them all. I thought they shared it with the world. What were they doing in Iraq? Why were they being traded all over the world? And then once they were stolen, then they began to talk about it. The little secret got out.
Just 2 days ago, the police again arrested 3 criminals, another 3 criminals with 5 objects. Now we are missing 37 objects from the museum. I hope that all the authorities in Egypt will cooperate in order to repatriate our missing artifacts.
During that time, the UK and America were at odds on a few things because they have one ideology. They're going to fool you big time. Because anything out in the open is not how they're going to do it. Now, what is more plausible? Let's just talk about some things here. There's one thing nobody questions, but they question everything else. People question the fallen angels. People question spirits and ghosts and goblins. People are seeing Bigfoot and everything else. These things in many forms, they question everything. They question your norms. They question your beliefs. They question everything. But what's the one thing they don't question? They don't question their delusion. A person who is delusional will never question the delusion, but they will question everything else, including reality. You never question the delusion. It would be like you waking up in your house, but you're not really in your house. You wake up every day, it's your house, you cook breakfast, send the kids off to school. But in truth, that's not your house, right? If it were true, that's not your house, but somebody made something to look like your house. They made a mock-up of your house, you're living in there, but you're inside a larger facility because they know you're scared to go outside and venture outside of certain paradigms. You would think that was your house. You would think it's real, but everybody else would look at you from the outside and say, poor thing, they're stuck. There's no way they can find their way out. Half of your circumstances are delusions. They're not even real. Let me give you an example of that. How many times have you worried about the end result of your circumstances?
Invited?
And then 5 years later you found out you were worried about nothing and you truly wasted your time. You could have been doing things instead of worrying. How many have done? I've done that so many times. Sit up and worry about something, and then after it's all over, you say, well, I just wasted time worrying. That was ridiculous. You were caught in your own delusion. When you're worried about something, you cease to do everything. Worry itself is a delusion. Amen. It's one of the doors into the strong delusion. That's why I don't like worry. I don't like worry as unfounded, period. It has never been justified, nor will it ever be. And again, a delusion can never be observed, can it? Or it wouldn't be called a delusion. Right? Is it not delusional to waste your time in worry and tears and starve yourself and everything else, but then 5 days later that same thing you were worried about never transpires, or the ending is nothing like you had imagined? Were you not in something that was not real? That's exactly what you were in. You were in a condition, and your mind made the worry It justified that worry. Your own thoughts, you were trapped in your thoughts of a horrible outcome, of an unsure outcome. You were delusional. You weren't seeing the truth. If you're not seeing the truth, what are you seeing? A lie. If you sit there and worry, and if you have worried, and some of us have done this for 30, 60 days, but the outcome is nothing like we imagined, for all that time, we were believing a lie. So we have already done that. And we were in that delusion while we did it. Now, examine this. When you're worried about something, how hard is it to break that cycle of worry? It's not easy, is it? It is not easy, is it? It's not easy. You know and I know the only way to break that worry, certainly over financial things, is to have finances in your hand. It's the only way to break it, right? Listen to me close. When a person is worried over financial situations, what breaks the worry is to have money in their hands. That's why you pray, Lord, please handle this, and somebody puts money in your hand, and you say, praise the Lord, it's done. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or am I wrong? Am I right or wrong?
Am I right or am I right or am I right? Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I would love to stand here and talk with you, but I'm not going to.
We do this all the time, don't we? We do stuff like that all the time. So he's breaking the cycle. Why? Because that's part of the delusion. When you believe a prayer with the wrong premise works, which so many people do, and they start breaking down in life when they're no longer answered, that's when they're shaken and they get their lives right. If you succumb to worry, that's like succumbing to a delusion. And if you can remember that, you'll say, wait a minute, because it's hard to break this cycle of worry. Well, the same thing happens in a delusion. Because worry is nothing more than your imagination dictating an end that never comes. Correct? Now you have something to compare it to.
But I say to you, hey, look at me. Please, don't worry so much. Because in the end, none of us are very long on this earth. Life is fleeting.
With trust, you will stand. Without trust, you are certain to fall. Okay? God bless each of you.
It's all a great big delusion. And we are the slaves. And this I have been trying to explain to people since I was young. I don't know how I've known since I was young. Maybe because I'm an old soul. But it's all a delusion. And now, that delusion is becoming open to mankind. People are learning the truth. People are raising their frequencies. The earth is raising its frequencies. People are seeing. People are hearing. People are feeling. Another quick video and then I'm going to end because it has to do with Planet X and Nibiru and an update from yeah, that's our son. Not.
Looking out into the vast is right. The ultimate aim of science to penetrate the unknown. These are the stories that will make you say, what the fuck?
WTF, Gary? WTF? What the fuck does WTF mean? What the fuck? Oh.
August the 21st, 2017. Is this doomsday eclipse?
On August 21st, 2017, a rare solar event will turn day to night.
The highly anticipated solar eclipse will fill the American skies from Oregon to South Carolina.
A chance for hundreds of millions of people across the United States to look up and witness what is being called the eclipse across America.
There it is. Here it comes.
The last time a total eclipse appeared across this many states was nearly a century ago. Astronomers and researchers are now preparing for a rare chance to collect data on the sun's outer atmosphere.
It's a phenomenon so powerful, even veteran scientists and eclipse chasers have a hard time putting the experience to words.
When I stood there and actually saw it with my own eyes, it was otherworldly.
Michael Zeiler, an expert in geographic information systems, describes the Great American Eclipse as a scene of unimaginable beauty. He runs a website dedicated to the upcoming event and says a solar eclipse takes place due to sheer cosmic coincidence.
The sun is about 400 times larger than the moon.
Bullshit. No coincidence. This Michael Zeiler here, if you research him, disinformationist.
But the sun is about 400 times further away than the moon. So as a result, they're just about the same size in the sky. And so we have the very happy coincidence that the moon just...
No coincidences in life there, Mr. Asshole. Stop spreading bullshit.
Covers the sun perfectly so that we can see the sun's outer atmosphere. It's corona.
The last time a total eclipse swept the continental United States was in 1918, nearly a century ago. Researchers say they plan to take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime event.
Solar physicists know that the temperature of the sun's surface is roughly 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But the corona is about 1 to 2 million degrees Fahrenheit. And so that's a big difference. It's counterintuitive that the temperature would increase as you go away from the sun. So there's a big mystery about that.
Zeiler advises skywatchers to enjoy the moment and pay close attention because the eclipse will only be visible for about 2 minutes and 40 seconds before disappearing.
The eclipse travels across the nation from Oregon to South Carolina in 93 minutes. Those 93 minutes gives astronomers the opportunity to take a very detailed look at the sun's corona as it changes and evolves.
During that time, the moon will completely cover the sun so observers can safely look at it directly with the naked eye. However, experts at NASA recommend wearing solar viewing glasses.
People can expect to see the most amazing sight of their lifetime. Not only does the sky suddenly turn dark, about the same darkness as a deep twilight, and that they'll be able to see the planets and the brighter stars. But they'll see where the moon is the blackest black that they've ever seen in their life.
NASA has posted an interactive map online for viewers to find out what time the eclipse will be observable in its 70-mile path.
And when that happens on August 21st, the first place it's going to touch is right there. At 10:15 and 51 seconds on the morning of August 21st, a Monday, those will be the people that see the shadow of the moon for the very first time. And for 90 minutes afterwards, everyone across this entire continent is going to be hanging on what these people get to see right here first.
It's going to happen. August 21st, 2017.
The Great American Eclipse on August 21st is such an exciting event.
The build-up has begun, and for once the event, a once-in-a-century solar eclipse, might just live up to the hype.
The entire country can participate. There's never been an event like this in human history.
On that Monday, the moon will completely cover the sun in the sky for a few minutes at each point along a 110-kilometer wide path across the U.S.
If you want to see the full show, you have to take yourself to the path of totality. If you just want a partial show, then you can just remain where you are and the eclipse will come to you.
Here it comes! Solar scientists want to see the full show. A wide array of experiments on the ground and aloft are aimed at getting better answers to questions like,
what makes the solar corona, the outer atmosphere of the sun, so hot?
Amir Caspi with the Southwest Research Institute says 2 planes 15 kilometers above the Earth will have high-speed cameras trained on the corona, that ultra-hot plasma, which on every other day is obscured by the sun's bright surface.
When the moon blocks out the disk of the sun, we can see things that are a billionth as bright as the surface of the sun, and we can see them right down to the edge of the sun.
One big component of the eclipse observations is citizen science. 70 of these telescopes, operated by schools, libraries, and private individuals, will be trained on the sun while it's obscured. The Citizen Kate experiment will capture high-resolution images of the sun's inner corona all along the path of totality. Research into the corona could help better predict geomagnetic solar storms, which can affect technology in space and here on Earth.
If we can give good weather, space weather forecasting to power grid operators, to satellite operators, to astronauts in space, to airplanes, then they can mitigate around that.
With all the data expected, the sky may be the limit to what's learned on Eclipse Day.
I've been in solar physics, solar science for my entire career, and I'm getting goosebumps. It is going to be fabulous.
Says one expert, it could be the most documented, the most appreciated eclipse ever. Tourists and scientists alike are counting the days.
It will be the first time in 40 years, or 4 decades anyway, since a total eclipse of the sun will be perfectly going across the
It goes
United
over our
States
base
of
in
America.
Kansas.
August 21st, 2017 is a date marked in many calendars.
This is a huge deal when the moon is going to cover over the sun. Now in Cincinnati, it's only going to be a partial eclipse, so only about 91% of the sun's going to be blocked out. But in other places in the country, the entire sun will be totally eclipsed.
It's an event that isn't to be taken for granted.
They're calling it the Great American Eclipse because this is the first eclipse in over practically 100 years that's cut across the continental United States.
Millions of people will travel to places on the map that are in the eclipse's direct path, an approximately 70-mile stretch.
So a lot of our members and a lot of folks from the Cincinnati area are heading south, typically to places like Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Dawson Springs, Kentucky, that area.
And if you are planning on
Our base in Kansas is in that 70-mile. It'll be nice and quiet there, so we'll get to see it from there. Oh shit. No traffic, no nuttiness, no nothing. It goes right across Atlas 1. Pretty much, right there. And you're going to start to see lots of things shown, and they're going to say, no, that's Mars, that's Jupiter, that's this. Get ready. And that's what they're getting ready at the International Space Station, and that's what Musk's rocket is about. Because when this eclipse happens, you're going to see. People will be able to see. Unless they somehow cover it up. People will see Planet X, Nibiru, and the other planetary objects around the sun. So they have to do something to block this out. Somehow, some way. This is going to be very interesting because they're not going to be able to do it all over. I guarantee you the pictures that come back from this are going to be astonishing. They're going to be astonishing. Yes, Nibiru. You will see Nibiru. You're seeing Nibiru regularly now. Planet Nibiru is being seen all the time around the world. Haven't people looked at our photos? People send them in from all over the world. That's not our photos. People send them in from all over around the world. People in this group put them up themselves. Major chemtrails. Yes, major chemtrails. Guaranteed.
On coming outside to witness the historic solar eclipse, experts say it's imperative that you protect your eyes.
You'll need to have either eclipse shades or number 14 welder's glass to look at it. You don't want to stare right at the sun. Even if there's just a little bit of sunlight showing, it can be really dangerous.
The glasses are almost sold out on every major website, and as the masses hit the road, the concern is now turning to logistics.
The other thing we're really worried about is traffic. We're not sure how many people are going to be going on the roads down to these places. It could be this weird traffic jam across part of the country.
But for those who do watch the event, it will be worth remembering.
Well, we haven't had an eclipse like this in the United States, at least the mainland U.S., for 38 years. So it's been a long time since we've had a total eclipse.
The temptation is to go down and take lots of photographs or videos and say, if this is your first eclipse, just go down and view it, experience it, and then worry about the next one in 2024.
Skywatchers across the U.S. are in for a treat. On August 21st, for the first time in almost a century, a total solar eclipse will reach across the country, plunging a strip 70 miles wide into darkness. NASA's Dr. Nicolene Vial says she's excited.
What's super cool is for
You're another fake.
2 minutes, all of a sudden in the middle of the day, it goes dark like it's a moonlit night.
Weather permitting, the moon's silhouette will be visible as it passes across the country, from Lincoln Beach, Oregon to McClellanville, South Carolina. And for those wearing safety glasses or using a pinhole camera, the sun's outer atmosphere, known as the corona, will be on full display.
The solar corona is very hot, millions of degrees, many orders of magnitude hotter than the surface below it, the surface of the sun. That's really weird. That'd be like if you walked away from a fireplace and it kept getting hotter. So we want to understand why that is.
A potentially hot day for science and a cool experience for everyone else.
So the Tennessee Valley is full of avid skywatchers, and you will want to mark your calendars for what some are calling the event of the century.
WHNT News 19 meteorologist Jake Reed is here to explain how you can see a rare upcoming solar eclipse.
This really is huge. The total solar eclipse will happen on August 21st, and it's the first time since 1918 the path will cross the entire country. Tens of millions of people will be able to watch the moon completely cover the sun, turning day into night for just a few short minutes. A total solar eclipse happens when the moon completely blocks the sun. This casts a shadow of darkness on the Earth, where temperatures will noticeably drop inside that shadow, and planets will even become visible. The path of totality is where the sun will be completely blocked out. The nearest big cities to us in the path of totality are Nashville and Greenville, South Carolina. The sky will go dark in Nashville for about 2 minutes just before 1:30 p.m. on August 21st. The sun will be at least 90% covered in cities like Huntsville, Birmingham, and Atlanta. Now, if clouds or rain were to spoil our viewing, the next total solar eclipse crossing in the United States will happen in April of 2024.
Stand out across
Back-to-back solar eclipses, basically.
Explore and reveal some of the most exciting spots to observe the eclipse this August.
The best place in the country to watch the historic cosmic event is closer than you might think.
NASA says in Madras, Oregon, that is the best chance of witnessing that total eclipse where the sun is completely covered. Our Andrew Dimper caught up with astronomers and scientists from NASA who paid a visit to Madras to check it out.
The August 21st eclipse is considered a once-in-a-lifetime event. People from all over the world will be coming to this small town of about 6,500 people, Madras, Oregon, to get a glimpse of history, if only for a moment.
The stars come out, the light changes in the horizon.
Clear skies.
It's almost as if sunrise or sunset is happening 360 degrees around you.
Mountains and plateaus.
An experience that you will carry with you for the rest of your life.
And its central location make Madras, Oregon, the perfect spot to watch the great American eclipse.
This would be the best place along the line of totality to view the eclipse.
From coast to coast on August 21st, 2017, a fleeting moment becomes a lifetime memory.
It's a moving experience. You can have people screaming, crying, praying. You can have them all, just depending on how you react to this amazing cosmic moment.
3 years ago, NASA and other world-leading scientists and astronomers chose Madras as the place to set up for this nationwide event.
This is something you'll probably never see again. It's the best thing you can see in the sky in your life.
2024, if we're still here, you'll see it.
Letting them in by hosting educational events about the sun and stars and the great beyond.
Africa, Australia, England, China, coming from everywhere. People are spending tremendous amounts of money to come to this little tiny town.
Between Warm Springs and Madras, the population is about 17,000. But come August 21st, there could be 250,000 people not only watching history, but making it.
You could be waiting about 375 years for an eclipse to happen.
In the shadow of Mount Jefferson, the tiny town of Madras is bracing for a monumental event. Oregon will be the first point in the U.S. to see the solar eclipse on August 21st, and up to 1 million tourists are expected statewide. Madras is a key destination.
The sun will be coming directly east of here, and the eclipse itself is directly west.
Experts say the high desert location means almost no chance of clouds, and a flat landscape will make it easy to watch as the moon casts a shadow on Earth for more than 2 minutes. But with more than 100,000 people expected in and around a town with a population of just 6,500, logistics can be daunting.
What we've asked our residents to do is get prepared ahead of time. About a week out, get their groceries, fuel up on propane, gas, whatever fuels they need, get their prescriptions, go to the doctor, do what you need to do, and then stay home.
Lisa Vatimo was hired as the town's eclipse planner. She's involved in everything, from bringing in cell towers and shuttle buses for the rural roads, to making sure businesses have enough cash on hand.
Table 4 is out.
The Black Bear Diner expects 1,000 guests a day leading up to the eclipse. Owner Joe Davis says he's ordered 5 weeks of food for 1 week of business.
This will be by far the busiest week and probably double what our busiest week ever has been.
I have nothing for monthly rentals for August. Nothing.
Across town, Misty Cox and her husband are providing nearly 700 portable toilets. They were first contacted by local tourism officials 2 years ago.
They said, we want everything you have. Don't rent to anyone. We want everything you have.
They had to borrow from as far away as Idaho.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Business is also looking up for Christina Carpenter. She and her husband are renting out camping spaces on their organic farm.
Oh, wow. One taste.
Prices start at nearly $1,000 for a 4-day event.
We have about 200 reservations at this point, and I feel really comfortable in doubling that.
And with the majority of tourists expected to be camping, the U.S. Forest Service is worried about the influx during peak wildfire season.
Just driving off-road, having that contact with a hot muffler or a catalytic converter could start an ignition.
First responders are making plans for how to evacuate tens of thousands of people and get fire engines down narrow roads likely to be at a standstill. Amid all the activity, 80-year-old Darlene Hoffman hasn't lost sight of the wonder. She's one of the few here who has seen a total solar eclipse before, 38 years ago.
It was really something to see. It really was.
That amazed me more than anything.
Sharing old memories and creating new ones under the shadow of a Madras moon.
Some people are wondering, is there some type of prophetic revelation that this sign is bringing for America, specifically for America? Is God sending us? Is there such a time as this? Will that eclipse have something prophetically to do with our nation?
Imagine the sea of red on a Husker game day times 5. Solar eclipse followers flooding the state to see a once-in-a-lifetime event. The potential to overwhelm small towns and counties in its path has local law agencies concerned.
Everybody's resources will be tapped because it's going to cross the whole state pretty much.
Gage County Sheriff Miller Gustafson says he's been planning for over a year, ever since he heard NASA designated Homestead National Monument as one of its official viewing sites. Any vacation or days off for his staff that Monday have been denied.
I need to have all hands on deck for something like this.
Concerns about not only increased traffic congestion, but motorists racing across the state to get a better view depending upon the weather conditions.
People that are trying to observe the eclipse, if they're not properly parked, if they're stopping on the interstate.
Gas stations and food services being overwhelmed, as well as cell service in some areas.
What impact will that have on 911 calls and their ability to respond?
Another major concern was so many people camping because of hotels being booked across the state.
Conditions right now for wildfire are very high.
Nebraska Emergency Management is treating the eclipse like a major event, activating its Joint Information Center August 21st, ready to deploy added state resources if needed, including National Guard troops.
I don't think we've had an event from border to border that's going to have this much impact.
And not knowing just how many people will come makes planning for this historic event difficult.
Well, it'd be a lot better from my perspective if I could have RSVPs. Would really help. That's the biggest problem.
Good morning, Margie. Yeah, many of the schools throughout our area are going to be beginning school again, coming back from summer break about a week before this eclipse is happening. And so there's still, a lot of them have still deciding on how they're going to handle class that day. Some canceling classes, some saying they are still going to hold classes. But the school district here in Edwardsville, District 7, the latest in the districts that have said they will be canceling classes that day. The eclipse will be visible across the U.S. when the moon completely blocks the sun for about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That's going to be happening around 1:18 on August 21st. But people across the St. Louis Metro will be able to see the duration of the eclipse from about noon to 2:30 that day. Experts say it's during this time safety glasses must be worn when looking at the sun. Ordinary sunglasses are just not going to cut it. The district here taking the stance that, like any other environmental hazard, including snow, ice, and sub-zero temperatures, the eclipse poses as a hazard to students. Since the district cannot safely dismiss students at any time during the eclipse, the students will have Eclipse Day off and will make up that day at the end of the school year. Dunklin and Windsor districts in Jefferson County also voting to cancel classes that day. So did St. Clair R13 School District in Franklin County, calling Eclipse Day the event of the century. Now, several other schools have already made the decision that they are going to hold class that day, and they are going to make this a learning opportunity for students. Afton, Melville, and Union School Districts, along with the Special School District of St. Louis County, saying they are going to be providing those special glasses for all of their students and staff so that they can enjoy the eclipse and use it as a learning experience that day on August 21st, that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
The Banner Creek Science Center and Observatory is always looking towards the stars, exploring, learning, and enjoying the pure beauty of the night sky. But on August 21st, northeast Kansas will go dark for just over 2 minutes.
It's very rare in the United States. This one is going to crisscross the United States from the northwest to the southeast.
Mike Ford is a volunteer at the observatory, but has also started up a business for the rare event called EclipseStuff.com.
We're doing it mainly for safety.
Ford's business sells safety glasses so those who want to watch the eclipse can do it without going blind. But they are also making the event more special by offering a day trip to help reduce the amount of traffic predicted to be on the highways.
Probably 75 north is going to be congested. 36 east-west is going to be congested. And so that's why the U.S. Department of Transportation is saying Stay off the highways.
Mike's group is selling tickets for anyone to take a bus to an area that will see complete darkness, feed them lunch, have an expert from NASA speak, and provide viewers everything they need to have a safe and memorable experience.
I guarantee you that once you see it, you'll want to keep going to them.
But something like this won't cross the plains for a long time.
It's going to be 7 years, but you're going to travel about 600 miles to see totality.
So if you want to see such a rare event, now's the time to do it, but plan ahead before time's up.
The sun will become, daylight will turn to darkness for 2 minutes. It will be daylight to dark. During those 2 minutes, the sun will become as dark as sackcloth of hair, which is actually prophesied to happen in your Bible. In the last days. Now, this isn't the first time we've ever had this event, of course, and it probably won't be the last. But I do want to read to you the scriptures in Joel chapter 2. It says in verse 28, "And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions, and also upon the servants and upon the handmaidens in those days will I pour out my spirit, and I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, and blood and fire and pillars of smoke. And the sun shall be turned into darkness, and the moon into blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord come. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as the Lord has said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call." Are you ready for Judgment Day? Or will this be Doomsday? Or is this just another eclipse? Another sign in the heavens? But take a look at America's spiritual condition. Take a look at the situation worldwide. Ask yourself, will there be another total eclipse like this over America again?
Yes,
Ever?
2024.
What the?
A little bit of a fact. After 2024 comes and the eclipse goes the opposite way, it makes a perfect X over the United States. The last eclipse we had in 1918, whatever the year is, 40 days later, World War I started. Just so everybody knows. The last solar eclipse across the United States, 40 days later, World War I started. Just something to think about. I think this is a normal, it's a, yes, Kathy, that's correct, over Edgar Casey's hometown. That is correct. Edgar Casey, everything he's prophesied has basically come true, just so everybody knows, give or take a few years, whatever, but he's been right on the money. He was right on the money. Lots happening. This is just a lot going on in the world all at one time. And you have to ask yourself. You can feel it within your gut. I know I can. Something is, this is all no coincidence, everything that's happening. So, 14-18 World War I. Yes, Veronica, that's correct. 40 days after the last eclipse, World War I began. And if you look at the timeline of where we're possibly going to World War III, it sort of fits right in the time slot. So we'll see. I keep seeing the date October 16th, 10/16, 10/16. I don't know what it means. I don't know what October 16th means. Could mean nothing. So we'll see. All right, everybody. I got to take care of some work for a few hours and then get some sleep and get up. Tomorrow's Monday. I have some early meetings tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Anybody who's board members and officers and things, I will be doing a video tomorrow in there and sharing some document with you guys to show you the structures and things that are going on. And I'll go over that tomorrow with everybody. And we have set up WebEx for everybody to do video conferencing that is part of the MFA board and officers and things of that nature. All right, guys. Good night. God bless you. Stay safe. And keep looking at the sky and taking pictures. Please send them in. Take the time out to look and take pictures, please. Send them in to us. We haven't been getting, the people seem to have stopped taking pictures, a lot of people, and a lot of things are happening more and more. Thank you, Amy. God bless. Thank you, Lisa. Good night, Robert. Good night, Deborah. Good night, Ruth. Good night, Kathy. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jane. Good night, Linda. Good night, Deborah. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, Veronica. I'm getting excited this week. A lot of cool stuff we're going to be able to get released that we're working on. So good night, Bobby. My best to your wife. Get some rest, please. You got a doctor's appointment. Good night, Vicky. Good night, Linda. Good night, Christine. Well, who are the Waltons' names? John Boy, Mary Ellen, Jim Bob? No. I forgot all the Waltons' names. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Ellen. Good night, Kathy. God bless. I forgot all the Waltons' names. Remember that show? Little House on the Prairie, the Waltons. Jason, that's it. Good night, Jason. Jason. No, that's a different one. Good night, Michelle. All right. God bless.